We're going live.
Okay,
I'm waiting
Should
for
be
the
good.
notification.
Should be
Boys
up.
and girls, if it's on and we don't know yet, we are live.
Yes, sing us a
Offensive Only
song.
Cops. We get demonetized.
For what?
Welcome.
That's
back.
your own song. We can't get demonetized for
Yeah, to our own
personal
to our-
music.
I don't
to
know.
our
YouTube
totally
might find a way to
non-copyright.
demonetize.
So, anyways, welcome back, ladies and gents, and everything in between, to our next
Wow.
episode of Only Cops. This is another
Jesus.
officer breakdown. We have our king Patreon member, Michael's with us. He is off duty for once, so he can join us in this. And we're going to do our best to be as academic as we can be to break down all of the news stories coming out of law enforcement this week. So, bro, Boom was here like insta there. Oh, Boom 11, shout out. I've been missing his little American flag thing in the chat for a minute. I remember back in the Phasmophobia days when he would just talk shit the whole time.
Talk like it was eons ago.
It was incredible.
Yeah, now that we
Hey,
found
it was
Ready or
like-
Not, fuck
It was like
Phasmophobia.
3 months ago. Really, like 3 or 4 months ago. Anyways,
4 scores and 7 years ago.
Kristen, what's going on, Kristen? It's also good to see you in the chat.
Hey, baby.
I've seen you guys in the Discord. It was just waiting.
Smart man, smart man.
It's pretty. He's on that next level shit. See, Boom, a Patreon member. He knows exactly how fucking irresponsible we are and how long it takes.
Hey, we were early.
We were early. We were early today. Boys
I don't
and
want to
girls,
hear it.
welcome back to Only Cops. So, anyways, we're gonna cover all of the things and do our best to stay as semi-monetized as possible. We are at,
Good
I
luck.
think, 909 subscribers.
Is it
of
909?
today.
The 10th.
February 10th. So we are on our march to 1,000. Once we get to 1,000, things get pretty exciting.
All we want for Valentine's Day is subscribers. So
Yep, that's all I want. You
Send
guys
it
give
in.
me those. So
send it
Bill.
in.
Comment and subscribe and
Yeah.
share.
yeah, and share. While we
Shares are cool, but we need subscribers to get monetized.
better
Oh,
law
you share.
enforcement stuff.
You can,
Then-
you know,
Then we can make cooler videos.
Oh, also, I will say this to anybody wondering why Bill looks like he was assaulted. He was. What
I
assaulted
was.
you, Bill?
I got assaulted by a ladder and then gravity.
Yep. It's a
So
real bitch there.
fell about 15 feet, and I have a grade 3 AC separation.
Yeah.
So this sling is not going to make it all stream. It's very uncomfortable.
So, cautionary tale: if there's some firefighters out there that want to talk some shit about ladders, here's your chance.
Also,
Chris,
I
shout out to Chris.
I
Thank
fell about 12 feet, and the only thing that's wrong with me is my shoulder. So come at me.
Oh, that is true. That is
damn
true.
near invincible.
You didn't need any of that safety gear.
No,
that
hey,
people was
no
using.
broken bones. No, well, I haven't had an MRI yet, so I guess I don't know about the full shoulder tear. But the doctors were treating it like a life-threatening injury, and I was fine. So
Safety first, boys and girls. So,
This is
Chris,
why-
I appreciate you joining us here.
should have a spotter.
Yeah.
what'd you say?
Belay. He's at a spotter.
Yeah, well, what was that going to do? The ladder slid out from underneath me.
That's true.
Uh,
Emotional support on the way down.
I mean,
Exactly.
I guess someone would have been
I
there,
hope you're
but
okay.
it's fine. Hey,
Anyways, give us the
also had my phone in my pockets and AirPod in my ears, and neither one of those broke. So
Hey, shout out to Apple.
all in all, a good day.
Yeah. I don't know that Apple's going to be super pumped about this, but what is what it is.
Why not?
So, shout out to Police Post for providing
My
our-
guys, these are the guys that
about.
keep these streams going because Police
I tell you what.
Posts give us the
Fresh.
best information,
Go follow
best
them on
posts.
Instagram. Go follow us on Instagram, you buttholes.
Yeah, seriously, we have been getting
and-
some love on
subscribe
Instagram
to
though.
Patreon.
Yeah, and subscribe to Patreon.
So I know that we watch a lot of Dust and we talk a lot of shit about Dust, but this might be some of the worst training I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my god.
Obviously, it's not in the U.S., but
Yeah. What is happening? What is happening?
Oh!
And this is why.
You're going to keep going in this exercise?
uh-huh.
They're not.
Nope.
And this is why you don't give other countries guns.
What is going on?
They
I
don't
do like
even
I
know.
do like the G36 rifle.
I know.
idea, though.
Yeah,
That's a flex.
bro, that's toxic.
You pause it real quick.
This guy's adjusting his helmet.
Go to the comments.
Well,
Where is
none of their equipment fits.
none? Or it's not
Well,
fastened correctly.
that's Academy in a nutshell, though. Nothing fits.
I guess we're in North Carolina, maybe, bro. At least our academy was okay. Like,
Well,
geez.
no, everything was fine until we did our crowd control training. The helmets they give us for crowd control suck.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. Some people say France, some people say Italy.
Yeah, I can't tell. Either way,
They weren't. I couldn't listen to what they were saying enough. But did you
We're
see
gonna
this right in
do
the
it.
beginning?
bro.
Right here,
Yeah.
right
It's like
there,
not even on. It's not even on. It's a weird.
right in his
Could
back.
we-
Look at that, pointed right into his back. And then there's this guy
Obviously-
sitting on the floor.
Yeah, obviously we could rickroll the hell out of this entire thing. I'm gonna say, you remember the life skills class that we had for people with like disabilities and stuff?
Yeah,
I think this is the life skills class getting to be police officers for a week. That's what I'm gonna say.
like a Make-A-Wish, like
it's exactly
Make-A-Wish
like that.
Foundation. You get to
That's
go
exactly what's
pretend to be a cop and
I'm
wear
gonna
like.
say, for the sake of whichever country this is, it's probably a NATO country.
Also, look at the face shields on the helmets.
Well, police was in English. It was spelt in English anyway.
But I'm thinking it's like a lend lease kind of thing. Like
Yeah,
like
maybe.
they probably got like, golly, dude, this is.
Where'd you see police?
It's on
Well,
the.
it was
It
on
was
the
on
shield.
the. Yeah, the
he
shield
was
had
coming
it.
up.
His it needs to be folded out.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh.
But he folds it up for some odd reason.
Well, they definitely aren't
Anyway.
speaking English, so
So there's a lot of things going wrong here. Obviously, we could rickroll the hell out of this.
I like this comment.
Blue.
Blue.
That's incredible.
God dang it. Yeah.
So, and I will say this though, without like actual formal training, that's what it looks like. To be
But
honest,
that
like,
is
with
formal
no-
training.
No, but yeah, that's what I mean. Like, there's, I don't know, man.
That is their training.
I hope that was the first phase.
We had to take our TCOL exam at another adjacent, and I won't say because I don't want to shit on them because I shit on them all the time. But at an adjacent department's facility,
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
and they were doing their fight simulator, and they have what they call them Red Man, and they only say it's Red Man because there's like a protective suit that they'll put
A
one guy
big,
in.
it looks like a dog bite suit almost.
And so like when we did defensive tactics, like we called them fight sims, we were expected to like accomplish like arm bars and all this crazy shit. And it was like very relatively structured because they were like they
Yeah.
had very specific skills that they wanted to see that you could accomplish with someone resisting, like actually trying to resist. And we weren't allowed to punch. We weren't allowed. You had to do it as if like there's someone watching, and your civil rights violation lawsuit was dependent on how this use of force went out. And
Which isn't
watching
too
the
far
way
from
that-
the truth.
Agreed.
So-
And it's more analogous to what they want you to do on patrol. But watching this other department who only basically had ASPE training for defensive tactics, it was awful. I was just like, wow.
But they did have a
Not-
nice facility, that's for sure.
They did have a nice facility. So-
Big city, though.
Not to give you guys more ammunition against my state.
We don't need
But-
more. We just keep coming up with more on our own.
Well, right, but so
Reaffirmate our bias. What were we
I-
saying?
right. I don't know if this is across the state, but I know for ours, our BLET they stopped doing Red Man like 2 classes before.
Like outright?
Outright, because too many instructors and too many students were getting injured, so they took Red Man out entirely.
So the
Pussies.
first time you're getting in a fight is on patrol.
Yeah,
in the
sounds
street.
smart.
The only only
Great.
thing that they could teach in BLET was passive resistance, not active
Ooh,
resistance.
passive resistance.
So when-
Because that happens
so-
all the time.
Right. So the first time that you encounter people using force and resisting outside of the cool little defensive tactics moves you use on each other
Can't do this
is an
shit.
FTO.
Jesus, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kristen said bruh, and I'm with her, bruh.
Trust me.
Might as well not give you a gun or a
I
vest. No, the
I
first time you should figure out if you're bulletproof or not is when you get shot. Why try the vest? Because you might be bulletproof. You might survive that.
I think
that
I am.
shot without the vest.
I think
Yeah,
I'm
basically,
bulletproof.
Bill's. What is it? What was it? Unbreakable.
Yeah,
What was
that's
that?
me.
What was that? Yeah,
look bulletproof.
anyways,
Fuck.
we'll keep going. Mike the Cop. Shout out. Follow him on all the things.
Hang on, I'm getting adjusted here.
Can't see
Oh,
you.
God.
All right, sir. Do you have any ID on you?
Yeah, I don't have that on me.
That's no problem, sir. We'll just write it down on the notebook here. All right, what was your name?
It's f you.
Excellent, excellent. Is that with a PH?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely with a PH.
And your date of birth?
It's June 9th, 1969. Yeah, that's it.
6969. And that makes you...
It makes me smarter than you. That's what it makes me. Now, would you mind repeating that back to me, for TikTok?
6969. Yeah, I get it. TikTok dancing.
Yep, that's what I was looking for.
All right, just
That
need
was
your
his
current
workout
address.
routine.
That's 1234 Bootlicker Avenue.
Nice.
Bootlicker Ave.
Wow.
I don't remember that from the maps.
Hey, sir, have you heard of bootlicker?
Dang it. Why does this keep happening? All right, sir. Do you have any ID?
So I will say this, and this is an interesting transformation to happen. I vividly remember. Boom11 says that he's definitely bulletproof.
I believe
I
that.
identify as tungsten.
Tungsten? Jeez.
I identify as an Abrams tank.
Yeah, I like that one. I like to be an A10.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I'm just going to keep being me. Y'all can be whatever you want.
That worked out for you. You're doing just fine. Anyways, what I'm saying is, when I was in academy and when I was new to patrol, officer presence is a learned thing. You do not have that out there. I don't care how badass you are. You do not have that out the gate.
Some of our classmates still don't have it to this day.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But I would say the first 150 calls I probably worked, this is out of PTO or FTO for wherever you are. I probably still didn't have it, to be honest. It took almost half a year of being on my own to really fully develop what we would consider command presence.
I like how you said 150 calls like that was a long time for us.
Yeah, it was probably
It'd be like 3 weeks,
but-
dude.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
No, but legitimately, it took me a while to
Sounds like
feel
a month.
comfortable doing it. It really was nothing, and that's not including traffic stops. My first probably 30 traffic stops were probably terrible. I'd be impressed if I read
Traffic stops are pretty easy, though, because people already...
They're a little more straightforward.
Yeah.
Than working like a domestic or a less organic investigation that's a little more asymmetrical. Either way,
Yeah.
that seems like an exaggeration, but it's not. That's exactly what you're like as a rookie. I don't care how badass you think you are. It was me. It was me for longer than I'm comfortable admitting. So
It's true.
I love this police post. Shout out.
Yeah, this one's just a picture. So it says the photos from an officer-involved shooting that was posted in 2019. So I'm guessing old boy got shot since it looks like there's blood on his underwear, but
Yeah.
I'm just guessing. Now,
Yeah.
I've never seen anything this crazy. The most
No.
I've ever seen is people hiding drugs in unsavory places, but
Yeah.
Pretty-
I've never had
pretty
someone try to
clever.
pick. Now I have had people that just have really tiny wrists that would pull the whole time we were putting handcuffs on them, and they were slowly able to pry their hands out. I have had someone.
I've never had that. I've only had them
at least once.
somehow get it to the front from behind them.
Yeah,
and
I-
that
I've
level of flexibility is lost
you
on
do?
me.
Yeah.
I've had people who get their handcuffs to the front, but I've never had anyone slip out. And people with small wrists scare the hell out of me every time. I get paranoid when I'm
Yeah.
handcuffs on.
It was this chick was probably 21, tiny. She slipped the cuffs, and we ended up having to use zip ties.
Oh
I
yeah,
had to ask for permission
that's awesome.
to get zip because that was a big no-no in our police department. And
I have a
I
couple
don't
zip ties in my car.
remember the other. Okay,
Whoops.
Hannibal Lecter over here. He's like, I got
Well,
some
no,
zip ties in my car.
it's from the protests. They had us carry zip ties because
Yeah, we had them on our SRT gear or our riot gear. We had zip ties. With
yeah,
Yeah.
I
They're
got a
like
couple
nice
that are
thick
just
ones.
hanging out.
Because
Yeah.
they're like
Yeah, they're real thick ones.
Let's see. Stockton Pig Watch 2. I cop watch, and I can say 3% I meet are cool on camera. I will say this: like, I think of the people that I've interacted with that do cop watching, I think it's like if I had to from the other side of the fence, I think like 10% of them were actually pretty cool because they legitimately were like they had their challenge for it, and they'd be in a public place videotaping something. And almost every time, because I know better, they would come up and say, I had one guy walk up, am I being detained? And I was like, did I approach you? I'm sorry, did I offend you? I'll cross the street if it'll make you feel any more comfortable. And we had a good laugh about it. But oftentimes, I think if you're in a city where you feel like you have to cop watch, you probably have a semi-crappy police department. But there is a larger percentage of officers that are cooler than you think than there would be of the cop watch community, because there is like a part of the community that's like a really fervent believer in like the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. They're constitutionalists, and I can appreciate that. But like, I guarantee you, if you took a room of like 20 people and half were cops and half were cop watch people, you would know who the cop watch people were faster than you'd know who the cops were. You'd be
Also,
surprised.
you'd probably have a better interaction with those people if you didn't come up to them the way that cop watchers come up to cops.
Like I said, I one of my favorite. I actually really like this channel. It's Audit the Audit, and
Yes.
like 90% of their content I actually really like because it's very educational. And he's a prolific, probably one of the most prolific cop watchers. And he's unapologetic about it, but he does it in the right way because ultimately the rule of law is based in the Constitution, and constitutionality should be the basis of how law enforcement works and how
Heck.
the legal system works and all that stuff. So
I pulled a guy over the other night for something small, and I was going to give him a warning, and he ended up turning his phone on and
Mhm.
filming it. Didn't say anything, and I didn't say anything to him about it, and
sure,
it was a nice, pleasant
Yeah.
interaction. And
I
sent him on
never.
his way.
Yeah, I personally never had any issue with being videotaped, and
No.
I only had 2 occasions where they were trying to come in to a traffic stop where I was like, hey, like, you got to be cool about it. And one of them was really cool, and the other one was an idiot. And they were like, I can stand wherever I want. And I'm like, you're almost in this person's car. Like, no. And he ended up going to jail, but I was able to articulate why. So it is what it is. Boom
Yeah.
11 says he is that person. He can slip out of handcuffs. Boom 11, you are the 3% I'm afraid of.
He's Boom 11 just stays oily. He just keeps
Yeah.
everything slicked up.
He stays.
He's like, I'm ready for this.
And Stockton Pig Watch 2, I appreciate you coming in and giving us some content and giving us some comments. If you have any law enforcement related questions, let me know. I'd be more than happy to answer them. Anyways, what's this clip?
Mhm.
Police post. Shout out to police post. Always good content.
Yeah. So, individuals driving about 35 in a 55 zone, swerving, deputy initiated stop, individual pulled over, refused to step out for 2 to 3 minutes before firing at the deputy with a gun wrapped in a towel.
Oh, this sounds fun.
And it says it was about 20 minutes before taking him into custody with backup, so probably somewhere out in the backwoods, county sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
Backup ain't close.
You okay, man? I need to get you an ambulance.
No, sir, I'm just really cold.
You ain't got a jacket?
That accent.
Nah, this is all I have.
Okay. Hey,
Well, this is my home, sir.
what's
This is my home.
Okay. Just step out the vehicle
This is
for
my
me,
home.
man. Okay.
This is my home. Okay? This is my home.
Oh, he's in an
Okay.
OODA loop.
I think he's drunk.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that'll get you in an OODA loop too.
You okay?
Yeah. This is my home, sir.
Okay, just step on out the vehicle, man.
This is my home.
I understand. Step on out the vehicle, please.
This is my home.
I understand that.
All right.
He's getting
all
more aggressive.
What do you got in that car? What do you got
right.
in
I
that?
have
man?
nothing in here.
Okay.
Nothing.
I'm just asking.
This is my
man.
home.
Ooh.
Good.
Shots fired! Shots
Ooh, I missed it. I looked away.
fired! Shots fired!
So, he gets back to his car.
I looked away right before that happened. I didn't even see it.
I think, and I'll get to the comments here in a second. Just to analyze the specific clip. I probably watched a video like this every single day, and it was a new one. It's not like we were looking at
Yeah.
old ones, but like we probably saw a video like this every single day. And I think it's not to excuse what I would consider over aggressive behavior, because I do think that there's plenty of instances where, not that they're taking too many precautions, but they're not articulating use of force correctly, or if they're pointing a gun at a car that probably doesn't need it, or so on and so forth. That being said, no one outside of law enforcement, literally, that are drug dealers, gets into these situations frequently. They can't let this guy go. This guy's probably intoxicated, which is why he's trying to pull him over, or at least he believes that this person's intoxicated. And it was smart that he didn't try to approach the car without backup, because it would have probably killed him, to be honest, had he been any closer to that.
Yeah, dude, I can't imagine.
From
I mean,
a
that
tactics
was
standpoint, you can't really ask
so
more out of the
close.
officer. He didn't try to de-escalate. He didn't try to escalate the situation. But I mean, he's lucky to be alive. He's only alive because that guy was probably drunk and too shitty to hit him somewhere where it would have killed him. So I'm thankful that guy's okay. He kept the B pillar in between him and that person. That probably also was part of what saved his life.
Because he had to go all the way out.
But like outside of him being verbally non-compliant, and passively resisting, there wasn't a ton of pre-attack cues for that. So that's what's sketchy. That's the kind of stuff that gives people heartburn.
Well, that's what's sketchy about every traffic stop.
That's what I'm getting at, yeah.
Yeah.
Stockton Pig Watch 2, I will answer this question. So Stockton cops act really aggressive. I stay a distance is required by law, and they still act crazy. I think it... Are there ignorant police departments that don't realize the limitations, and I say limitations for a reason, of the law and how they can apply it? Absolutely. I've seen plenty of instances where, and if you watch any of our content, if you watch any of these breakdowns, I would say it's like 40, 60% of the time. 40% of the time, we're like, this cop's an idiot. What the fuck's he doing? The other 60% of the time, typically there's something educational to kind of glean from it, and like generally it's positive, but typically there's some sort of critique going on. That's why we do these things, so we can explain it. But I think if you're going to try to bridge that gap, obviously keeping your distance is important, and distance is relative. Like I said, if I just recently got a gun pulled on me like that, or I had somebody in the same state, in the same area, get a gun pulled on me like that, the comfort distance that I'm going to want from that to feel safe might change, if that makes any sense. And so from a Cop Watch standpoint, if I had to give Cop Watch free advice, get a zoom lens. And a boom microphone is my best. Well, mostly because
Stick a microphone over.
Yeah. No, I'm serious. Like, have a directional boom microphone and a zoom lens, and be like, hey, man, like, I'm as reasonably far as I could be, unless you're going to detain some. If someone is walking by, feels perfectly comfortable walking by where you're at, this officer doesn't have much of an argument to stop you from doing whatever recording it is that you're doing. If they're doing stuff in a public place, you have every right to record. Anybody that tells you that they can't, they're idiots.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that I would rather not gamble on that officer's comfort level, so I would never argue with where that distance is. But I would put my foot down and say, yeah, but you're not going to stop me from recording, if that makes any sense. Continue to record, but if this guy keeps saying back up, just comply with that backup. But I think you're 1,000% within your rights to not stop recording, if it makes any sense. Sorry, I'm late. Boom, Sean, super late, Sean. Goodness gracious.
Disappointed.
Like 20 minutes,
Well,
dude.
hey, Stockton Pig Watch said that was a shitty call. So he could appreciate how fucked up scary that shooting was. I appreciate you cutting us here in the middle. Police post. Do it.
I've had scenarios. I haven't had that happen to me, but
Sure.
I've had scenarios where I started to get the sense that was where it was going.
Mhm.
We managed to nip it in the bud really
Sure.
quick, but it's a scary feeling. It
Well,
is.
and we
super
talk about
scary
it. We
feeling.
talk about it all the time. That sometimes a quick escalation of force is the best way to de-escalate a situation. Because really, what it does is it makes it unappealing to do stuff like that. I've pulled over a car where we saw a gun, like pretty apparently in the car. The plate had warrants for aggravated assault on the vehicle. I didn't approach his car by myself, but the second we saw it, this guy got a gun pointed at him.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, man, like, legitimately, if you move anywhere near your waistband, you die. And I just explained it to him that plainly. Like, hey, like, We're not having that. Some of that comes with experience, some of that comes with whatever. But that slight escalation of force, though it might look shitty from the outside looking in, probably prevented that guy from reaching for it. Had I played this game of, hey, do you want to come out of the car or not, I could have had an officer involved shooting and not know about it. So it's you don't get to know. That's the shittiest part about these types of encounters is you don't
You also
get
weren't alone, which sucks for that guy because
that's what I was gonna
he's
say.
out there.
I had 3 officers with me
Yeah.
by the time I approached the vehicle, which is way
Yeah.
better
But-
than the short stick that guy had.
The big thing is we don't decide when a use of force happens. Usually, it's they decide.
100%. But and it's that's the way it should happen.
Yeah.
I was going to say that ultimately we're going to the subject that is having policing applied to them is going to decide how it happens. But the problem with it from a stress standpoint in law enforcement is we know that innately we know that we would like for everything to happen without resistance, but that's not the case. Like I said, I've been in way more use of forces than I even wanted to be in. So, bro, Michael is inhaling the mic.
Michael
Not
doesn't
gonna
really
be
have a
ownership.
mic. He has a headset. Give him a break.
But I shouldn't
Only
have to
trust him so
appease
much.
the cop. If I am going by the law, I will stand my ground when he comes into my rights. If you don't use them, you lose them. I will say this. You are not losing the right to record, if that makes any sense. You are losing the right to that space, if that makes... it's the best way I can describe it. Again, I'm a big proponent of the Second Amendment. Here's a great example for this. I do believe you cannot tolerate the passing of legislation that's going to impede on what you believe is a constitutionally protected right. You can also say the same thing about look at this was recently that it finally became federal law that same-sex marriage could be a thing. We believed it was protected under the Constitution as 2 consenting adults engaging in a marriage should be a thing. When it comes to the First Amendment, specifically when it comes to approaching law enforcement, the only reason why there's a protection given there is you can't know contextually from the outside looking in what their interest in that is. Like I said, I've had really, really shitty traffic stops go very sideways, and had there been someone that close to me, they might have gotten hurt. And then the question becomes, well, now am I going to sue the city for not protecting me from this person? You can also look at Tennessee versus Garner, where, again, law enforcement is allowed by case law to use deadly force to detain somebody if they're a fleeing felon, and there's a likelihood that that fleeing felon is going to cause, again, a shooter running into a school. You're going to step on one side. You're going to pull on one side of the rope while you push on the other, if that makes any sense. And so, like, though I agree with you that you have to protect those rights where they're at, fight that in court as opposed to trying to pick a fight with a cop in the street. It's not a great place to be in, just because oftentimes you don't know the dynamics of the situation. Like I said, recording I will never see an issue with. It's just how close you are to recording them, and because it does become a safety issue. I've been an officer that's had people approach my traffic stop, and I am not a mind reader, nor am I going to look at you and be able to determine whether you're a threat or not. And so you'd rather not put me in the situation. You might be lucky and pull the cop like me that tries to be as reasonable as he can be. But if you pull the wrong, I wouldn't want to make that gamble. If you are willing to die on that throne on the altar of society, knock it out. I guess roll the dice and run the risk. But my advice is always going to be to err on the side of caution. And that goes both ways, for officers and for people that are trying to audit said officers, if that makes any sense. They treat the public like everyone's a threat. That's the problem. The issue is we can't know the difference, and that's the problem. Is like, I understand the frustration from a civilian mindset of, well, we're not all threats. You can't treat us all like threats. That being said, we don't get to know. You'd be amazed at how innocuous. Again, what was the pre-attack cue on that traffic stop? Had he not treated that person like a threat, he'd probably not be breathing today. So I think put yourself in that officer's shoes and then ask what you think might be reasonable. And there's a lot of case law to support why, and again, Pennsylvania versus Mims, officers are allowed to control, even if you're not part of that investigation. It's why they're given that authority is because they're the ones that have the most to lose. The officers are the only ones that are volunteering to put their lives on the line to do this. But that being said, it's unreasonable to ask them to do it to a degree that's reckless. We wouldn't have police officers if that was the case. See if I can churn through this really quickly so we can go on to the next clip. I'm already looking on joining the U.S. Army. Shout out Boom 11. I plan to go to Ranger School, but I'm a bit nervous about it. Yeah, Ranger School is fucking
Good luck, my dude.
badass. That's why.
Yeah,
dude.
good
That's
luck.
a hard ass fuck. But you got pour a little out for Boom 11, my dude. Sounds like an ass whooping.
Baby Jesus is in the chat.
Baby Jesus in the chat for Boom 11. That's Ranger School ambitions. Because every time we say hi to the public, y'all want to get on your phones. It's true. It's like the public themselves is the enemy. I think, again, if you want to foster a better relationship, it has to come from both sides of the fence. Cops take an oath to protect my rights. That is true. They're not required to worry about my safety.
They're worrying about their safety.
So, and this is where I will make a determination here. If someone is suicidal, right, and here's a perfect example of where there's a really thick gray area here. If someone is suicidal, do I just wait for them to do it? Like, let's say a loved one of yours is having suicidal ideations, like they want to jump off a bridge, right? Do you want law enforcement to go up and try to stop them? You know, it's a weird moral conundrum that you put them into. If there is a bank robbery occurring, right, and this person's actively hurting people, right? He's shooting, stabbing, whatever you want to call it. Do you want law enforcement to step in? Because ultimately they can't act unless there's a victim, right? But that officer has to assume these people aren't consenting to aggravated assault. That's just an assumption they have to go off of. And to judiciously create peace, sometimes they have to act on people's behalf, whether they know they want it or not. Because that's the task they've been given. That's the duty they've been given. And so, like, it's a civilian mindset to not see those scenarios playing themselves out, because you're never faced with those scenarios. And I'm with you in believing that as an individual, you're like, well, I can take care of me and mine. I understand that. Innately, I understand that. Like I said, I am a huge proponent of the Second Amendment. I'm a huge constitutionalist, if that makes any sense. But it technically is part of that oath to worry about your safety, if that makes any sense. Your safety and their safety. And oftentimes controlling a traffic stop, if you do not have a material interest because you're not a party in that, you shouldn't be approaching the traffic stop to begin with. I totally understand holding them accountable as far as recording, but getting close to it as far as proximity should have nothing to do with maintaining the fact of whether or not they're acting judiciously or not. That's kind of where that argument loses steam for me, mostly because I've experienced it from both sides of the fence. Boom. I thought about being a cop, but it seems too risky at the moment. It is kind of shitty, I will say that. Well, someone being pulled over and someone watching it is completely different. Come on. What's what I'm getting at is even someone being pulled over, that interaction, again, this could be a warrant. This could be, you have no idea until you know. And if you want to know, you can do a public records request, and they'll be more than happy to tell you why that person got pulled over and the statistics on how many times they get pulled over and stuff like that. There is a gray area, but they use it as a safety. With some officers I have seen use that gray area to their advantage and abuse it. I totally get that. We've talked about this multiple times on this show, that I think the existence of that gray area, it has to happen if you want police officers, and if you want to take it away, well, then you're on your own. And if you want to be on your own because you're an anarchist, I get it. If you're alpha as fuck, knock it out. But in general, most people that believe in society realize that gray area has to exist. It should exist in more areas, in facets of life, that you're given a little bit more autonomy over yourself and your life. But that being said, law enforcement is such a fucked up place. It's such a fucked up middle ground, because they're there for that 1% of the time where it's gray and you got to make a decision right fucking now. I don't think the right people are doing the job oftentimes, and that's really the issue. Or if it's the right person, they don't have the training or life experience or a lot of stuff to navigate that correctly. Again, we just watched that first video of the French police shooting each other with fake guns and doing a bunch of dumb shit. But I think it's I think the reason why we start the show and why we break down a lot of these footage is that Bill and I experienced it firsthand, and Michael's still experiencing this on the street, is that
every
it is
day.
that complicated. It's not as straightforward as this isn't an I'm stopping this old lady for speeding and being a dick, and someone's recording me trying to hold me accountable. Fuck that guy. It's I just watched five cops die this week on traffic stops, getting shot in the face. I have no idea if this is a dude using a camera just to approach me, or if this guy's legit. If there was a way to know, like I guess if you could pre-register as a cop watch group,
Minority
and have, like,
Report, dude.
or some shit. You know what I mean? If there was a way
Yeah.
to know, knock it out. I'd be all for it. But I definitely think it's a thing.
And
Um,
I will say, if you like in my town, for instance, if there were people going around and cop watching, um, we're a decently small town, so once we get to know you and we see you often, because we got a couple of people that do basically their own news, and they just
Sure.
come out with a cell phone and they report what's going on. They have a scanner. They listen when they hear something go down. They come
Yeah.
out and Facebook Live and report to everybody. We see them so much. We're used to them. We don't have any issues. We know they're not a threat to us. I mean, every once in a while they might get a little close. They're like, "Hey, can you step back a bit?" If we're working or whatever. But no issues. We know who they are.
Yeah.
The issue you get when you get with a bigger city is you're not going to see the same. Well, you might see the same cop twice, but how often are you going to see the
It's
same
pretty
cop
rare.
twice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will
So-
say this: Stockton Pigwatch said he subscribed to. I don't know if he subscribed to us, but he subscribed to Cops. Shout out to that. And he said that we were great, and so I appreciate that, or that he thinks we're great guys. I do appreciate that. I like the engagement, and there's the whole reason why we have the show.
You know why we're great? We're not
Dude,
cops
why?
anymore.
It's because we're not cops anymore. He's like, yeah, y'all left. Hell yeah.
Yeah, we can't see you, so you're just kind of like that voice in the background.
Yeah.
Well, and like I said, I don't personally have a problem with criticisms on law enforcement, because I think that there's plenty that should be leveled. And that's for anybody in the comments in what he said. I don't think anything he's asked is unreasonable.
I mean, I'm an active duty cop, and I criticize law enforcement.
Sure. And kind of what I'm getting at is, like, I think, and I think this is what Stockton's kind of getting at, is I think there is a broken understanding between what law enforcement should be trying to accomplish, and oftentimes that's lost on patrol, and that's lost on just ignorance and stuff like that, and also like where constitutional law, like there's very few experts on this, and almost none of them are occurring where all these stupid traffic stops happening. So
Yeah. By the way, shout out to Lunsford in the chat. That's my buddy. Canine
hey,
officer.
what's going on, Mr. Lunsford? Let's see. Oh my God, it's Bill. Sorry, Michael. Bill, back away from the mic. Hey, man.
No way,
I
dude.
guess Bill's loud. He's away. Boom11 says he wanted to be a pilot, but ended up going for Army Rangers. Can't be cold, hungry, and wet. Screamed at my instructor. I'm subscribed to you. Well, thank you. Y'all had dying. Y'all not cops anymore. Bill breathing ASMR. Anyways, yeah, it's we're easier to like because we're not cops anymore. So.
Hey, I'm in a lot of pain, so get off my back. I'm not here
he's
for
in
it.
a lot of pain. He was recently hospitalized, so you guys give him some.
I'm here for
anyways,
you.
Yeah, like I said,
He's
I
crippled
appreciate.
right now.
Yeah, I appreciate Stockton for liking and subscribing on the channel. It's a great support. I'll take support where I can get it. And there were actually good questions. I really had no problem with the questions that you asked. I've been recorded on a traffic stop a few times. It's hard when you're trying to watch the person. And that's really what it comes down to, is oftentimes the recorder isn't the problem. It's that I'm having to split my attention. Especially because, like, I didn't stop cars unless I thought that there was some interdiction value in it. So typically I'm stopping a car because it was leaving a trap house or an area where I know a trap house is. I already had PC for the stop. I already kind of know what I'm walking into. I'll donate to support Bill. Yes, donate
Support
to
me with
Bill's
what?
pain meds.
I didn't get any.
Got to introduce to y'all, bro, Mr. Lung. Appreciate it, my dude. And watch all of our skits on TikTok. You'll appreciate those. Go look at our admin skits.
Oh, he was watching the admin skits yesterday.
If you need some morale boost, go to those. Or worse, it's probably worse. I need Bill breathing on max volume and Juan's feet in the background.
That'll be next Tuesday. Don't
That'll
worry.
be next Tuesday. That's for Patreon only, baby.
That's
Okay,
right.
anyways, let's get to
Yeah.
this damn. We'll get to this damn video. Right? We've been talking. For
You
like
ready
30
now?
minutes. We're ready.
So I can hear all my breathing.
Police posts. Shout out to police posts, always providing fresh content.
Yeah. So, officer involved shooting. Oh, why did this happen? Go back. So it was an armed robbery. They pulled up in a back alley, found someone that matched the description.
Hey, don't reach for nothing. Don't reach for nothing. Get on the ground!
Bro, he is.
And that's how fast it happened.
Whoa!
God, get some.
Get on the top of the gun! Watch out, guys, moving! Back the fuck up! Back up! Hey, homie, you good? Hey, you good?
No, he's not good.
No,
Somebody
he's
needs
not
to take-
good.
yeah, someone needs to take
Not
a
at
hold
all.
of this guy. So pause it. So,
That's it.
and we'll break this down a little bit. Okay, that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy was not good
At all.
Now,
2 mag
and I'll say this to
dumps.
everybody: don't
on.
don't pull guns, even fake guns, on cops. This obviously was what happened here. This is definitely a thing. Where if you're the officer that's getting startled or whatever, if you're a backup officer and you realize this guy's losing his shit, y'all need to help this guy because he straight up mag dumped that alley. I'd be shocked if some of that didn't sail a few blocks there before hitting something. There's houses back there. I'm not saying it's obviously, I mean, you guys have there's a credible deadly threat being presented to you. It is what it is. I wasn't even mad about him drawing when he drew. I'm not going to wait for this guy to produce your weapon. If I believe this is a robbery suspect, he's getting a gun pulled on him. Perfectly kosher with that. But he did not need to be the person controlling that scene. Just simply based on the way that he reacted once he stood up and had himself oriented and all that. He has officers saying, I got him. He's yelling at them to back up. He's willy-nilly reloading his gun, flagging the shit at everybody. I don't know. It's... yeah.
Read the chat. Tactical roll.
Yeah, we'll call it a tactical role that he took.
That's awesome.
So one of the things that we talked about a lot of when we were in training, we got pretty awesome training compared to most officers in America. Is your prefrontal cortex is what helps you make critical decisions and stuff like that. Well, it helps you with critical thinking. When your corpus callosum, which is the big old arch part in your brain, takes over, this thing turns off. And when it turns off, you do not apply critical thinking to shit. And it's part of stress inoculation training. Another part of that's experience. But also, like, he's the one that almost got the gun pulled on him. Everyone else, I don't know if you noticed this, was then approaching him. So they didn't have to experience the kind of crap your pants, this guy's yanking a gun on me experience. So they were probably not as hard pressed into that loop as he was. But yeah, he was very out of control there. It's... Again, I don't have a problem with the way he approached it. I don't think there's anything you can do about the guy pulling a gun on you, but you have to know, like, holy shit, I'm out of control. And like
and yelling at those cops that were coming up on the side who had like great cover from a brick building. Like, dude, they're a lot closer than you are and a lot safer than behind that car. So
well, and kind of like I was saying, he's like, I don't know. I'm not. If he believed this was a real gun, I'm even kosher with the amount of shooting that occurred. It was the totality of it that made me believe that this guy was out of control and didn't need to be.
Well, and you can see it here. The cop even said they continued firing till he appeared incapacitated because it looks like he got hit and then he sat back up. And that's, I think, when he did the second mag.
He kept doing the mag.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Obviously, you can't see it because it's just that one. It's just this one.
Like I said, I'm not mad about the use of force. I'm just saying that guy was a little out of control.
Well, he just got super pissed that somebody pulled a gun on him.
Sure.
That's
sure.
you know.
Like I said, it's my super harsh criticism on it, and it is harsh, and I get it, but like, hey, if there's other officers telling you that you got it, like, you got to have the presence of mind to be like, yeah, maybe I should recluse myself.
Yeah.
Like, let other officers take over if they're asking to take over, because they're probably doing it for your benefit.
Yeah.
Bill, I hope I'll help you get through the pain. Sean is offering services.
From experience, having a gun pulled on you is not fun.
It's not fun. It's not fun
at all.
Yeah, I've had a few weapons pulled on me in my time. Let's see how this goes down. Police post again. Shout out,
dude. They have been
providing this A++ quality material here.
Yeah. So right off the bat, I can tell you this is gonna suck because just look at all those. Look at all that snow.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
All right.
I don't know nothing about this. I'm a Texas cop, or I was a Texas cop. Oh, a guy's shooting.
Yeah.
Ooh, there it is.
I might be wrong. That might be sand. This might be in the desert.
Yeah, don't shoot at cars.
I thought it was snow, but so when I went, when was it? It was a few years ago. This happened in Michigan. So like the big city that I live just outside of, they got into vehicle pursuit. Vehicle ended on the highway, and they kind of set up like a felony arrest team, like an arrest team somewhat on the highway. And the guy gets out of the car and starts shooting at him. And one of the officers put his Explorer in drive and fucking nailed this dude on the highway. It was crazy.
Yeah, and like one of the things that a lot of people will talk about in a use of force situation like this, they'll say, well, they didn't have to shoot the guy that many times. They didn't. If it is a credible threat and it becomes a deadly force scenario, bro, you can go full, let me watch this pencil disappear kind of thing. Once it's a deadly force scenario, there are no rules.
Yeah.
This guy's dying or I'm dying. Once it turns into that, doesn't matter.
And you're not safe in your car. I don't care.
Well, and what I'm getting at is, like, a lot of people think, well, it's a lot to ask out of that. And the difference is what I'm getting into is, so the one we just watched with the whole alleyway thing, he's got other officers telling him, hey, I got it. Eventually, training's got to kick in where you're like, okay, someone else has it. In that situation, no one had it. This guy's lobbing. So, like, at that point, and you'll notice there was a decision point. Do I try to get out of my car and shoot at this guy? Mm-hmm. Or do I do the most expeditious thing, which was actually the safest way to apply force? Lobbing rounds in an open field like that, you might sail one. This is the easiest way to make sure that he doesn't produce a risk to anybody else. Actually, probably the most creative and ingenious use of force I've seen, and was done judiciously, I think. Like I said, there's different ways of kind of doing that. And yes, Chris, the car will win every time.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. You're not getting out of that.
I almost slid off the road. The roads were mostly clear. I could take a car. I have a yellow belt in karate, according to producer one.
Karate? Wow.
Karate. It's karate. Thank you.
Oh, Jesus.
Fancy.
Yeah.
How dare we?
Karate. Roadkill, always more effective. Wow.
How dare you assume it's pronunciation?
Anyways, police activities. We'll go watch what they have to say about the.
So another replica gun in California, of all places.
Police department.
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, police department?
Yes.
Just call taker.
I'm in 13 Surrey Market Avenue.
You know that call taker is actually a cop.
100%.
That's not just a call taker dispatcher.
We'll put a little bit.
Like,
I had to work the desk, okay? It is not hard to be like, this is the only cops police department. This is not one. How can I help you? Just try a little, dude. Gee.
You know you didn't talk to everyone like that who called the desk.
I at least answered the phone.
Especially if you'd seen the number call 5 times previously.
That's different.
This kind of seems like.
Maybe you're
and
right.
I've seen someone outside holding a gun in his hand. He was calling the employer.
Yeah, it was on 1303 Market.
Yeah, it's 13 Surrey Market Avenue.
And what's he doing?
I don't know. He's just
Holding a gun,
standing
dude.
there.
Just listen.
He's got
My
a. He said he's
goodness.
got a gun in his hand.
Yeah, he's got a gun in his hand. He looks like that he's showing off.
Is he by him? Is he by himself around anybody?
Huh?
Is it 1330 or 1303?
No, it's 13 stories.
1330.
Yeah, Evergreen store.
It's the Evergreen store.
Yeah.
Is he's just out in the parking lot?
Yeah.
Just chilling.
Is it directly in front of the store? Is he off to the left, right?
He's in the parking.
Is he talking to anybody? Is he by himself? Is he?
He's there outside.
Oh, he's
like,
straight
next
up
to
just
his car.
chilling with his gun.
Mm-hmm.
Has the gun
And his
in
red
hand.
shoes.
Like I'm
Yeah.
just worried if he's
Stands
getting
out
to
in
the
them red
store and
shoes.
trying.
Got
to,
it. What kind of gun is it? Can you see what kind of gun it is?
No.
Is it a handgun, rifle, something like that?
No. It's I think it's like a pistol or. No, I don't know about guns, but I think it's called a pistol.
Black, chrome.
No, black. He was taking the magazine out and put it back, and then.
Oh, he called it the right thing.
Look at this.
Not a clip.
Yeah.
The manager is calling me. Not. Yeah, I'm talking to
Someone
them
should
right
give
now.
that clothing description of those red shoes.
Dude, I'm hoping he says red shoes.
I don't know.
I know.
There's no denying that.
Yeah, they're on their way right now.
Are you gonna send the police?
No, we don't care.
Priority 3.
Oh,
me see your hands.
no description.
Let me see your hands.
Shout out to the newer model AR with an EOTech on it.
Yeah,
Not from the 70s. Shut up.
Let me see your hands.
department that spends its money wisely.
He probably had to buy that, let's be honest.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
He's saying no?
I think he's not saying he doesn't understand.
Huh? King 3. Can we get a description from the market if we can call in?
I think there's still people driving around here.
He definitely bought that rifle.
We'll keep going.
The driver's saying no, he won't show us his hands.
Yeah, what's this guy doing?
Hey, pause it real quick. This is where those really awesome beanbag shotguns come in handy. I don't know that you could loop it in from this distance.
Probably, yeah,
but
probably too far away.
Out, if this guy's not immediately, and now mind you, he's holding it to his side, but instead of being stuck in the only option I really have is shooting this guy, this is really why I advocate a lot for having something other than OC spray or a rifle. Like, there's got to be something there.
I mean, I'm glad he has a rifle, though, because look at,
100%.
look at all
What
of
I'm
this
saying
surrounding. Like,
is if you're a police department, right, and I'm an administrator in a police department, if I think that a beanbag shotgun here, which in the whole purpose of that is so that I'm not having to utilize lethal force if I can avoid it, right? At the very minimum, gives you one extra step that you can take before you're having to resort to utilizing a rifle. Really, it is what it is, but we'll see. They have no other. They can't approach this guy.
Let me see your hands! Come on out of the vehicle!
Yeah, and I'd rather have a rifle than a
Come out of the vehicle!
Is he in a Toyota?
oh.
He is in the Toyota. Yeah, I guess.
So that's the truck he was standing by, and they
Yeah.
made a traffic stop on it. I get it now. Because I was like, why is this truck just sitting there?
Mm-hmm.
But that makes more sense.
Keep your hands up! Hands up! Get your hands up! Let me see your hands! Get your hands where we can see them now!
Or like a pepper ball gun.
Let me see your hands! Put them up! Put them up!
Good,
Get
good.
your hands up!
Hey, you got a rifle here. Not everybody need to be shooting. Jesus.
Yeah, let the rifle do its work.
Jesus.
Yeah.
All right.
Let me
Well,
see your hands!
That sucks.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me
We
see
don't have to
your
watch it.
hands.
We don't have to watch it again.
I just want to see if he points it.
Oh, this actually shows it.
Yeah.
Keep your hands up! Hands up! Get your hands up!
I wonder if
Let
he
me see your
points.
hands! Get your hands where we can... Let me see your hands! Put them up!
It's definitely him.
Nope.
Oh, he racked it. Yeah.
Wow. They gave him a lot of chance on that. That's actually. Let me get to the
they
chat.
They gave him rope.
According to Stockton, the leading cause of fatalities was the disease that we can't say on live. I will say this, and studies are coming out now that there was a lot more comorbidities to that than there was.
Morbidities.
Did I say morbidities?
You said morbidities?
Oh, morbidities. There were a lot more. Traffic accidents is a huge killer of officers. I will agree with that. And hit by cars, they pulled over on the highway. That too. That kind of
highways are sketchy, dude.
Highways are
sketch. I'm glad we don't have
a lot of people. It's pretty interesting because they talked about that thing that we can't say on live, or we get in trouble, causing the most fatalities. And I was like, which it's, and again, there's a lot that goes around unpacking that. But that as time passes, you will realize how much of that was motivated by companies that were selling stuff to make money off of that.
You mean the company that made like $36 billion? That one?
So anyways, because a lot of, like I said, and I'm not saying that for it's not a political opinion, but I did watch somebody get absolutely creamed on a car accident. Like, this guy was crushed, and I had to go to the hospital, and we have to give a time of death, right? So we get time of death, and I'm doing my report or whatever, and the doctor came out and said, "Oh yeah, he died from COVID." And I thought he was joking at the time, and I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah." And the guy was homeless. The guy that died, and so there's no way they're getting.
Oh, it was that guy.
It was that guy, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And so that's what they put as his cause of death. And I was like, and the ME's office wasn't going to get involved because he died there in the hospital, so it's not going to go to Tarrant County it wasn't going to go to our county guys. And I was like, really? And he said, yeah. So I watched a guy that was absolutely slammed by a car that apparently died. And you'd be surprised to see that. Statistically less likely to kill me is not super successful strategy when a pistol comes out. Also a base fallacy. I will say that too. It's like, lightning might not be a super high cause of death, but I'm not going to go stand out in a thunderstorm. Same thing with like sharks and things of that nature. The weird thing about law enforcement, like I said, and especially when it comes to trying to control a scene and stuff like that, is the possibilities. It's a real danger because officers are dying from this all the time, it's kind of an issue. What were you going to say?
You're inserting yourself or being inserted into situations where you're more likely to be exposed to it or have it happen to you.
Yeah.
If I am inside a house on a domestic, am I worried about getting slammed by a car? No.
Sure. No. Yeah.
But if
I could be wearing my traffic vest.
Right. But if I'm directing traffic on a wreck, am I worried about follow-on accidents or even getting hit? Yes. If I'm on a traffic stop, am I worried about someone coming out with a gun or getting hit by a car? Yes. Yeah. It's contextual.
Chris, your comment about unaliving by cop totally was a thing. That happens way more often than a lot of people like to talk about. That they'll do it out there. Wow, cops are way too militarized. I will say this about the militarization aspect of law enforcement, and a lot of people will see specifically the AR-15 and they'll think, well, it's a military rifle, air quotes, right? If I was going to have, and this is the discussion I have with him, would you rather, if an officer was going to get involved in a shooting, him use a pistol or a rifle if he was going to do this, right? Regardless of the military context, there's a whole argument about whether or not that's military or not. It's not in general, but there's a more fruitful discussion to be had about the equipment being used. If that officer at that distance was going to use a handgun, the statistics of him sailing these super far and hitting someone possibly that's in the community is really, really high with a handgun. The other problem is 9mm bullets in general, especially the ones that are readily available to law enforcement, do not do a good job of stopping. And so they literally will rip through a car door, through a person, and out the other end. Even if you got like the super special bullets that you want them to get. Specifically, the rifles that law enforcement uses and the rounds that law enforcement use are the exact opposite of what the military uses. We have rifle rounds. This is 5.56. You can look this up. We called them confetti rounds, but they were ceramic tipped, basically, plastic tipped. And what they would do is the second they hit anything hard, they would frange. They would basically fall apart, and it wouldn't go through a glass of water. Now, a 9mm bullet would rip right through that, regardless of how you make the structure of that bullet, because it's a 55 or 115 grain or a 230 grain bullet, and a weight in grains just means how much metal there is on it. A rifle round, which is 5.56, is a 55 grain bullet. We used 55 grainers. It's like literally half the mass, and then on top of that, it has the tip of it that's designed to split this bullet apart so that it does not overpenetrate. You have a more accurate platform to go and utilize deadly force, and you have a round that's considerably less potent. Literally, we've watched those rounds not go through doors, like in houses. We had a SWAT call out in our department, and they shot this door 15 times, and not a single bullet fully penetrated that door. Had they used a handgun, it would have sailed right through that thing. So a lot of times, and it comes from a place of ignorance. It's not that yes, I don't need officers with tanks. I get that. We don't need F-16s. We're not fighting an insurgency, nor should we ever be, especially on civilians. But that being said, when it comes to firearms, you would rather actually have officers utilize a rifle, mostly because they can make this decision from considerably further away.
Yeah, but it's so scary looking.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. There's a political aspect to this that I think a lot of people get caught up in, and it's a very easy narrative to talk about, is to compare law enforcement to the military and the type of equipment we use. We don't. We don't have fully automatic guns. We're not using M855.
There's almost no similarity outside of both may use a rifle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's a better argument for using SBRs versus like the more militarized 16-inch rifles.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
That when you really look at it, if law enforcement's going to be tasked with utilizing deadly force to stop bank robbers, to stop school shootings, to stop all of this stuff, we want them to be brave. We want them to go do it. I would rather them utilize equipment that minimize the risk to everyone else that's minding their own damn business and being law-abiding citizens. So there is a conversation to be had about that. And a lot of people don't fully understand the way that law enforcement's utilizing that rifle and the type of ammunition it actually uses. It is not great ammunition for gunfighting, but it really is good for the setting that they're using it in an urban setting.
Yeah.
I thought I needed parents' permission to create a YouTube account. Oh my god.
Wow.
More likely to get struck by lightning, 3 times more likely to win the lotto. Again, the danger... I'm never going to be mad at somebody for wanting to lock their door or like not let strangers into their house and things like that. Again, the situation law enforcement officers are getting interjected to, as Michael was alluding to, that's what us as taxpayers are doing. I would rather law enforcement have to deal with all that than me.
Yeah, because as a civilian, you don't get put into those situations often. Hopefully, never in your life. We get put into those situations every day.
Mm-hmm. And as far as money for guns and tanks, we don't get tanks, to be honest. We don't need them. Mental health training
means more like MRAPs.
Sure. The problem with, and I'll get with this, and we literally, I've been advocating for mental health training and things of that nature already.
Yes, me too.
To equip an officer with a rifle maybe costs, I would say, $3,000 per officer. That includes the rifle. That includes the training. Right?
Except we bought ours.
Sure. And I had to buy mine.
So did I.
Mental health effective mental health training is probably a month-long course, probably, and that's efficient. If you wanted like adequate mental health training, that would cost probably the officer's salary, which is already going to be, $2,800, whatever it is, an hour. So you're going to have to pull them off the street to go do it, and then you have to pay someone to give that training, and then have scenario-based training. So you're probably looking at like $12,000 or $15,000 per officer to provide that training for mental health. I'm with you that they need it, 100%. That I wish that it was provided more often, but like, if I'm a city and I only have X amount of pennies, I think it's a conversation to be had about, yes, you can't really get away with defunding the police and having an effective police force. It's not going to be shitty. But when people think that a rifle costing $3,000 is crazy expensive, and we should use that money. Cool. You can take all of the rifles off the street and pay for maybe a quarter of your law enforcement officers to get adequate mental health training. And let's be honest, it's going to be all the damn day shifters because they're the guys that are going to get the time off. And so your young officers aren't going to get that training. And then let's say they have to get into, again, I bring it back to this. If deadly force is going to get used, well, I took all the rifles away. So now when deadly force does get used, they're using these bullets that way over penetrate, and they're using a platform that's considerably less efficient as far as actually landing shots on target. Again, if you've never been put in the situation to have to use of force or to have to get into critical incidents, you don't understand why that's so valuable. I can give a person a rifle and tell them you're not allowed to get within 50 feet of that person, and they can still control that environment with a week's worth of training versus a month's worth of training that might take, because you might still have just a shit officer that, whether I train him or not, still fails in the moment. There are clinicians right now with doctorate's degrees in mental health training that still could not intervene in a critical incident because they simply don't have the experience or they don't have the courage of character to step up and take that responsibility. So it's a considerably more complex scenario than that just simply getting the training isn't going to fix. However, a tool, again, an AR-15 is a version of that. Radios are way more expensive, and you don't hear anyone complaining about the $6,000 radio they have, but you want them to have that because communicating is a force multiplier that doesn't scare anybody. We get those tanks for free. Wow, jeez. Sean, Jesus. I vote standard issue AT Force and Shovel.
I love Boom.
Boom is too much. Cops with guns, they should have all the training. Lives are in their hands, plus their own. I agree that officers should get more training, but I think when we're asking to pay for the training by itself is not the fix to the problem. It's like training plus recruiting plus experience, and then like retaining experienced enough officers to train the new ones is the issue. If any one of those links in the chain breaks, it's all for nothing, and you're still going to get all these fucked up situations, regardless of how much money we throw. Look at the military.
And I'll say this too: even with great training, none of that really it helps, but it doesn't really matter until you get experience. Because you can get all the training in the world, but until you've actually had experience in using that training. You know, it's a different ballgame, man. I felt like I had pretty decent training. I had some qualms about it. You know, I felt like I had pretty decent training, and then when I got into FTO and I started getting into actual situations, I was like, oh my god, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I'm getting at. In Stockton's mentioning here that he would want more than a month's worth of training. Again, you're having to provide that for every single op. Like, this is where a lot of people don't realize how expensive the government is. Even if we cut out like all of the waste spending, right? You've no idea how expensive it is to make a human being that's going to make good decisions here. Because recruiting costs a lot of money, and we're going to want to vet this person. We're going to subject him to polygraph tests and psychological evaluations, background you need very skilled investigators to do very thorough background checks. So even before this guy's a recruit, it's crazy expensive per person to try to vet people to become police, which we should be doing. I'm all for it. Then you get 100%. Them into academy, right? And ours was what, almost 8 months long before
our academy was 8 months. It was a
so
full 8 months.
So our academy was 8 months, and we spent changles of time. Like we spent.
I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, ours was pretty long compared to the national standard.
Yeah,
it was pretty long.
I'm not saying anything.
We were like the top 3 longest in Texas.
Sure, which I'm glad and you can see a difference when Bill and I start talking about all these topics because we have that. We all had bachelor's degrees prior to coming into that, and then we had 8 months worth of academy, and then we still had
13 weeks of field training.
Yeah, it was a pretty long amount of time in field training, and then you're still on probation until another year practically. So it's a long time. And we still had officers that totally screw the pooch. Even in that circumstance, even with them being picky and what we were making, I think our base pay at the time was probably like 64, I think, while we were there.
I think that's where we started.
Now. but like it's so crazy expensive to provide that. We're trying to find a solution that we actually think is tenable. In the nonprofit world, we call them feasibility studies. What is your actual capacity to provide training to officers that they can then actually utilize in the field? And most civilians will just never understand that conversation. So when they talk about providing training and how much training is adequate and how much it's going to cost to make that, it's such a more complicated conversation than that. That's why we talk about it here on Only Cops. So.
Oh yeah. We can have these.
Yeah. Anyways, police activities. We'll go to the next one. We'll keep trying to hammer through these things. We keep getting. These are good conversations. I'm glad we're getting the questions, but they're very meaty questions.
So this is a guy holding a machete.
Oh! It almost looked like a mannequin.
Hey, buddy.
I'm not your buddy, guy.
All right. Listen.
All right, what?
Drop the knife, bud.
Or you'll do what?
Drop the knife.
Or you'll do what?
He's got pretty good distance.
Nah, he's got a machete. He's coming at me. Drop the knife. Drop it.
Do what?
Drop the knife.
Or you'll do what?
Okay,
drop it now.
Or you'll do what?
Drop it.
Drop it.
Just drop it.
Do what?
You got the knife. He's advancing on us. Put down the knife.
Put it down.
Why?
Put it down.
Why?
Just put it down. We can talk about this.
Come on.
Put it down. We can talk about it. Just put it down.
I don't want to talk.
Come on, man.
Go inside.
Put it down. Put it down.
On what?
I don't
Drop it.
Watch it.
Do you not know what sentences are?
Just drop
Put it down.
What if I don't want to?
Come on.
Drop the knife, bud. We can talk about
Hey,
this.
you? I've been to Iraq, bitch.
All right, can you drop it?
No.
Drop it, man.
Drop it. Drop it.
Please drop it.
Just drop the knife, man.
What when I say please?
I don't want to shoot you.
You don't want to do
I don't want to shoot you.
Put it down, man.
Oh, what? I'm not black enough to be shot?
Put it down.
Please.
Put it down.
Come on, drop it, man.
Just drop the
Drop
knife.
the knife for us, bud.
Come on.
Drop it, buddy. Come on.
Drop the knife.
Drop it.
Ah! Oh! Oh!
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Shot fired! Shit! That was stupid. Oh!
Stay down.
Yeah.
Stay down. Stay down.
Ooh, that was
right.
stupid.
He's
Give me
complying
your other
now.
hand. Give me your other hand.
Put your hand behind your back.
789. Let me roll him over.
So, to answer, Stockton said that they maybe should have tried tasing him. I'm not saying tasing him wasn't a good option. This is going to be 2 violations. One, tasing him on concrete would have been a write-up to be like 1,000% in our department. We had to wait. Literally, I shit you not. Our SOPs were they had to be on grass for us to tase him, basically.
We can tase on concrete.
Yeah, the other issue is him holding said machete. Once you tase a person, let's say it works, and this is a good news if it works, and he falls on that machete. We saw it happen. This was, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago. The guy had the knife, and when
Hit
the
a
taser
big
happens,
ass knife.
I think it's NMI, neuromuscular interference, or whatever it is. There's a special term for it. The taser likes to
neuromuscular lockup.
There it is. They can't stop themselves from whatever's happening, and if he were to have died from falling on that knife from a taser deployment, you're running into an issue here. He does pose
death lawsuit.
That's what I'm getting at. So he is posing a deadly threat. A machete is a very deadly threat, and these officers gave him a lot. And this is, again, rifles allow you to be way further away from this guy. Rifles also open up the conversation of a lot of people will talk about why don't you shoot him in the leg. With a rifle, you probably could do that, even at distance, if you felt that this person was going to run up on you. It buys you some time to do that kind of stuff. Perfect use for a bola rep. That's not an awful way. I think the bola rep makes more sense here because you can wrap his legs without him losing control of his upper body. Because then again, he might cut his fucking hand off or his head off. This is a good if you wanted an excellent. Yeah, if you wanted an excellent argument for bola reps, that would have been the absolute perfect call for a bola rep, I think.
And the thing is, too, you have to consider that guy was, if you look at that body camera footage, he's really close to them. Like, they let
too close.
Sure.
Yeah, they get uncomfortably close.
Yeah, and I think that dedicating somebody to kind of talk to him. It's a pretty stressful environment, so I'm not too mad that they didn't try other verbal de-escalation with him. He's walking at you with a machete. There's not too much you can do there. Trying to figure out. He said he was from Iraq. Try to talk to him about that or something like that. There's a couple of verbal things that you could do that comes with training and experience.
That whole video is also a big argument for weapon-mounted lights.
Yeah, that's another thing. Well, and honestly, it would have been against geos for us, but like, had you had a weapon-mounted light, you could have utilized your pistol with one hand and pulled out your taser with the other, or picked one of y'all to do that, so that you're not exposed. They did have a second officer there. You could make an argument about the second officer attempting a taser, but I think you're.
I don't know, man. That's a
machete.
Like
that's what I'm getting at. Is the threat's the same, and you really run the risk of him hurting himself. If the objective is to not hurt him, bolo wrap makes a ton more sense. Pepper ball guns make a lot more sense here. Again, a beanbag shotgun. Makes
but I mean, for what they had to only fire one round.
But like I said,
I was about to say that. Yeah.
And my challenge all the time is when people look at these situations, and there's a million other things you could have done, right? This guy was just fucking going about his day, and this was the call that he picked of all the calls.
I applaud that officer for the restraint to just fire one round, and
but also
partner didn't start shooting too.
But also that was like 2 minutes of them backing up. To be fair,
yeah.
And that whole time they are allowing themselves to be exposed to this hazard that is this guy walking up to it with a machete. There's a lot of what ifs in that. I don't see anything unjudicious about what occurred. Would having some tools there been nice? Sure. Would having other officers there be nice? Sure. Bolo wraps would have been nice. There's a lot of things that
you could have made the argument for the bolo wrap. You could make an argument for pepper ball.
Halo armor is the only way, bro. I'll tell you what, Halo armor would be pretty Gucci. You guys say this, but I really do think in the far future, you will just have bots that encounter people that are trying to unalive themselves.
I don't think that's going to be that far in the future.
But I really think you just have a little robot that runs up and just bear hugs you. And then tries
de-escalation by hugs.
Seriously.
Or a robot that just ends your life because you can't charge a robot. So
yeah.
Big Hero 6.
I'm just saying, dude.
Yeah.
But
after a few lawsuits, we'll see how that works out.
Yeah. But you could even make an argument for beanbag shotgun at that point.
Well, as I mentioned, there's a lot of intermediaries.
Yeah, but you know what the argument is for all of that? Where's the money going to come from for that? You can't fund everything.
Sean just brought that up. Yeah, that he's like, all of that's very costly. Beanbag training, the equipment itself, it's just so.
We
much
worked
money,
for
so
a
much money.
medium-sized city with a very large yearly income due to several visitors per year. Yeah, we'll put it that way. And we didn't have anything like that. Not even close.
And I'm with you. It's expensive. And I'm not saying you need all of it, but if they'd had even one of those options, you know.
Mm-hmm. And it's I really think, and we talked about this, I was talking about this on TikTok, that we here, as we grow this platform, one of the things that we really might try to do as we grow is try to found like a nonprofit or something like that where we can actually start to provide some of this equipment or some of this training at no or low cost to officers or departments that just will never be able to afford it. Is the problem way bigger than it will ever be? 1,000%. But if we can start the trend to showing that if taxpayers can't do it, and if departments won't do it, can we from the outside in try to affect that? That's the whole point. Only cops, my guy. We're trying. No robots. We can just let Skynet become a reality. Teach robots how to fight is a bad idea. Not fight, just bear hug. I want just very affectionate robots. Is what I want.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. So anyways, we'll keep going. I'll be all for people piloting a robot. That's probably exactly what I mean by that.
There's a dog in the car!
Dog in the car?
You know what fucking rats they can do?
Where's it at?
Bro, I'm with it.
Put me in the back. Right here.
Right here?
Yeah.
This is Bill. Everyone in the audience, this is Bill right here.
That's me.
I've broken several windows in a car to get dogs out. It's a fact.
There's some sort of manual lock. It's right here. Come on. Hey, come on.
Come on, buddy. Come on, Hank. Oh, God.
Oh, look at the puppy. Pretty dog.
And he wants help too.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
I just want you both to know I'd break both my shoulders to get that dog out of that car.
Oh, me too, man. I'm with you, 100%.
Oh, look, there's fire.
So shout out,
late as ever.
Second responders.
Yeah, shout out to this officer for stepping up and doing this. I have, and maybe I'm just crusty, but like, if it was my dog, and I'm a lame civilian now, how am I not able to get my own car open to save my own dog's life? Like,
you know, I thought that while watching this too. Like, you couldn't have opened the back gate, like the lift gate. You couldn't have opened the back door.
I would have used my teeth to eat through that car if it meant getting that dog out of there. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I'll read the chat here. That pisses me. I don't know. I'm happy. I'm glad the officer was there, and fuck fire for taking way too long to get there.
Well, and you know that was a fire call. That's a car on fire.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's literally what they're there for.
And as usual, law enforcement got there first.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. That dog, I'm glad the dog's okay, but yeah, fuck that guy for not being able to get his own dog out. Well, thank you, Stockton, for telling us that we don't have any more subscribers, that we should have more. I appreciate that. I'm writing a letter to the White House. Bro, you should. I mean that. Like, really, change is going to come when we decide collectively as a society.
Not to this White House. He won't even understand what he's reading.
I was biting my tongue on some comments about the guy in the White House.
Yeah. It's more complicated. It's bigger than all of us, I'm sure. But you should write the letter. I think it's important. Angry mom and this happened in Dallas. I remember this.
Quite a while. He is going to wreck up on a bunch of people. So he hits the two folks. Now watch the people in the van. There's a mom driving that van, and she comes out absolutely hot at this guy. Not scared, not upset, not are you okay? She is hot, and both she and the guy in the car are after this dude. Now you notice what looks like a child is laying down by the side there. He got out of the back seat.
This dude's never wanted the police to show up more in his entire life.
I tell you what,
flopped around on the ground there for a little bit. But now they're going to hold this guy and kind of wail a tune on him a little bit there and hold him while the police finally catch up with this dude. And they're going to kind of flag him down when he's like, all right, man, well, I'm not going to get away at this point. So they chuck him down. And now the first cop shows up, so they're going to finally get off. And mom goes over finally to...
hit a car in South Dallas. See what happens. Jeez. But I literally had a kid. He was shoplifting, and he shoplifted an airsoft gun, and we were taking him into custody for shoplifting, and I asked him, I was like, "Why'd you take the airsoft gun?" And it was still in the package, so it wasn't one of those crazy deals where they try to pull it out. He's like, "Well, I got to stay strapped." I said, "Do you know where you are?" I was like, "Bro, like you're like one of the ghettoest parts of North Texas, and you're gonna pull a fake gun on people? Like you're an idiot."
That's good.
Like, try that.
That's a great
try that here.
Great idea where we worked.
I was like, "You are an idiot."
Because that city's full of fake guns.
Bro, they got into shootings over road rage. Our city it had a nickname. And it wasn't a very flattering.
They got into shootings for less than road rage.
And we weren't the one that got it to them. Hey, what's going on? Hey, it's one of our buddies from TikTok. My guy. It's good to see you. Stockton said he's gonna go tell his 6,000 subs that we're a cool page. I appreciate that, Stockton. We appreciate all the love we can get. Probably gonna get trolled by some of them, but it is what it is.
It is. It is
what it is. I get it. I was a dumb cop for long enough to accept the fact that that I'll be treated by shit by the internet.
Still a dumb cop.
I'm here for it though. I'm here for it. Yo, How come you're not live on TikTok? I was live on TikTok earlier. I don't like doing it simultaneously because I can't answer questions that fast.
And also, last time we put our YouTube live on TikTok live,
yes,
we got banned.
We got PP whacked pretty hard last time because like China's not cool with seeing.
No, it was Scooter, dude. Scooter got his feelings hurt. Scooter got his feelings hurt and reported us for
it was Scooter.
something.
I forgot about that.
Scooter and his.
So, anyways, I have separate
videos.
lives that I do for TikTok where I just talk about.
Yeah.
I talked about life-saving equipment today.
You did.
I put a tourniquet on my arm for y'all.
Which arm?
We'll keep going.
When you aren't allowed to work interdiction anymore.
We're not gonna play the song.
That's hilarious. When you're not allowed to work interdiction anymore. This is exactly how it worked. When that year at the end of that decade happened, and they were like, "Yeah, you should stop stopping cars." I was like, "I bet I'll get paid to watch Netflix," and then randomly respond to shootings. That's literally like
Yeah, just because we stopped doesn't mean that the crime stopped for that year.
For like 6 months while everything was shut down in Texas, it was literally like being annoyed that you had to stop. Like we were watching Newt's Top 5. Shout out to Newt's Top 5.
Nuke's Top 5.
The best, dude.
Incredible.
Especially in the middle of the night in a dark patrol car, sitting in like an empty park.
I'd be sitting in an empty, pitch black parking lot.
I know what you two are doing.
Yeah, but we get super annoyed because it would be a toned out call and it'd be like some aggravated assault, domestic nonsense. We're gonna have to wait to finish watching nudes. We got tried. Dude, we lived in such a dystopian nightmare of a city, dude.
It's true.
Oh my god. Let's see. The chat's getting out of hand. Probably. Hold on. Let's see.
Producer Juan's in there, dude. He can handle it.
Okay. Yeah, we need more skits. We have more skits. Producer Juan's been busy, so he's having to edit more skits. He says, "I know." Dropping one tomorrow. Hey. I have nothing but love. Anyone here that's supporting the channel and giving us good content, I'm all here for it. I'm here for the conversation.
The rookie officer reacts.
That's coming out as well.
You ready?
Play it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we can't listen to the music.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna risk it. So.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Oh.
That was a friendly bump.
The dude's like, "Nope, I'm still running."
Or you better hope they don't have canine there. You do not want canine smoke, dude.
No, not at all.
You want to have an argument for defunding the police?
Look at this guy.
Oh my god. Is that the pilot?
Yeah, dude. I mean, it probably wasn't the pilot. It was probably the co-pilot, but.
Bro, my man. He's like, "I ain't no bitch."
He says, "You made me fly around for this?"
Mad respect to this pilot. He's also probably annoyed that
awesome.
That other cop wouldn't get out of his Tahoe.
100%. But that when you saw him get out, you realized he wasn't going to catch him in a foot chase. So.
Yeah, he probably wasn't. He probably played it smart and just stayed in his car. But
so.
You want to talk about an argument for bro? If you having a helicopter come down and come get you, like you're the problem.
Yeah.
You know how expensive helicopters are, dude. Jeez.
Too much.
By the minute.
For sure, 10. What you pick? Producer Juan, I think he's keeping up with the chat. Too many donuts. Shake my head. Wow. But there's never too many donuts. That's a fallacy. Anyways.
Handheld radio admin. Oh god. Oh god.
That was a good one, actually. The admin radio traffic was a pretty good one. That was a pretty good one. We did shoot it already, so it's up to producer Juan to release it. What is this? Police Post. Shout out again to Police Post. Follow them on.
This is the new mayor of New York City.
We're about it.
In the police department, I kicked those crackers' ass, man. I was unbelievable in the police department when one of the blacks in law enforcement. Became a sergeant, a lieutenant, and a captain. You know the story. Some people all of a sudden trying to reinvent me, but every day in the police.
What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't even wrap my head around that.
Yeah.
Was that even a coherent thought?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Play that one more time. I'm trying to see what he even.
Here.
Every day in the police department, I kicked those crackers' ass, man. I was unbelievable in the police department when you keep 100 blacks in law enforcement. Became a
Pause it.
sergeant, a lieutenant.
There's a guy wearing a suit here sitting in front that's like, I want to be supportive, but I can't.
Yeah.
Because I'm like a
Here you go.
respectable young person.
That's my favorite comment.
Guys, it's fine.
This account, he's also a New York City
So-
police officer. So
And I'll say this: it's the one thing that kills me about politicians in general, and this goes across the board. And it makes me want to reach across and smack.
oh, he
both
went to
sides
admin
high.
before he went to politics. Don't worry.
Oh, 100%. But like, they get away with some egregious bullshit. And
What
they
do you
don't ever
mean?
have to pay the consequences.
That wasn't egregious.
I don't know, dude. Anyways, I'm glad I lost some more brain cells watching that. We'll keep going.
Hey, I didn't put any dust training in here. Okay. Give me a break.
That at least is satire.
Is it?
He spared. Right. He spared you on some of the brain cells.
Oh, that's a longer speech. Jesus.
Yeah.
Golly, that's rough.
Here you go.
Anyways, Fort Collins police individual dropped a knife. Was 40 times. Oof.
Now that's what
See what
you
happens.
don't hear most of the time.
Yeah.
Most of the time we watch these 30-second clips of an officer-involved shooting, and they don't tell you that they've been out there with this guy for 40 minutes or an hour or whatever.
Drop the knife, Jeremy. Drop it. Drop the knife.
It's loud.
Drop the knife. I'm gonna try to take
Oh, he's gonna try to unalive that.
There's a great argument for why don't you tase someone with a knife?
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. So like. I mean,
And he
it
was
is-
holstered and got it back out.
Mm-hmm.
well, and like, and again, it's kind of why, unless you're faced with the situation, you don't really fully understand how dangerous these situations. Because, like, let's say, like, because in the argument's always like, well, this isn't causing officers to die, bro. Getting stabbed, even if it didn't kill you,
I'd rather get
pretty
shot.
Pretty traumatic injury.
100%
Or,
rather get shot.
Becoming paralyzed. Or, breaking your arm.
But
There's
also,
a lot of things that could happen to you.
he
that
waited
don't-
until the guy said, "I'm going to try and tase him," and then rushed him.
Then you rushed it.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
He clearly has rode the lightning before and decided bullets were better.
Yeah, I tell you what, riding the lightning does suck. But like,
It does.
it's again intermediate beanbags, pepper ball. We've been talking about this whole time. It's way too expensive, and I get it. Bola wrap also really, really good example. Now the other thing to it, and this is a training scar. Could he have been sneaky and snuck a sneaky tase in here without saying anything about it? Maybe. That is one thing I will say. There was a lot of times that.
Yeah,
I
but
sat
what
there-
happens when you pop that taser off and then your partner shoots him?
Agreed.
Yeah, the guy
I
that's
agree.
adrenaline.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
5,000.
Like,
Yeah,
you would never, I mean, unless you could get your taser out while still having your gun and then saying you're going to tase him, but I wouldn't try and.
Yeah.
Because you're going to hear that taser pop, and then you're going to be like, what was that?
shit, I
And
guess
then
that's a
you're going to
good
shoot.
shout, yeah. The only person I ever tased in my entire police career, he thought I shot him.
I got to pull my taser a few times before they
Just once, and
turned
it
it
was
into a use of force.
It was the
but-
most disappointing thing ever because it didn't work. Of course, it didn't work. And that whole 21-foot thing, and that's how far your taser works. Total bullshit. That won't work outside of 8 feet, if that. I kid you not. I had this whole guy's. He was shirtless, but he had this. I had his whole torso, and I was right at that 20-foot mark. And I aimed intentionally low. I aimed for almost under his nuts, because I was like, okay, I'm really gonna get a huge spread here. 'Cause I'm pretty
You're like, I want to hit those suckers.
One,
Yeah, that's what you were really aiming for.
I was hoping one would hit him in the thigh and one would hit him in like the shoulder.
The upper
One hits
thigh
him-
in the center.
Yeah, one hits him square, like just above his belly button. The other one sailed like 3 feet over his head. Like, it never stood a chance of working. And I was like, wow.
Yeah,
pretty useless. Our chat is being savage to this guy.
Our chat or Sean?
No, it's 10Q. 10Q.
Oh.
I'm actually proud of Sean for being an adult today. So.
Well, he's at least a teenager, dude. Let's not give him
yeah.
too much credit here.
Sean's being an adult today, so I appreciate your 10Q. I'm not gonna argue with you. The guy wanted to volunteer to be on the line, and it's really an issue. Like, I'm not gonna stand here and ever advocate for like medically assisted suicide. That there's some hard ethical conversations around the concept of mental illness and suicidality. However, the news and the culture surrounding how society treats police officers has increased the concept of suicide by cop astronomically. It's like I probably personally had, and we'll take a tally here, and you could put it in the chat if you were a current or former police officer. I probably had no less than like 80 people tell me to kill them.
That's true.
I've had a few.
About 80.
Or I've read in the notes where they were talking about suicide by cop. But when we got there, they made.
And I'm talking
of it.
everything from an already arrested DWI person that's like, kill me, to all the way to like it's already a use of force. Like, we're drawn down on the guy and he's yelling at us.
I've had a fucking shoplifter say it.
That's what I'm getting at. I was a PI. He fell down and passed out in a back alley somewhere, and we were trying to get him home, and he couldn't figure anything out, and he started peeing himself, and we're just like, okay, he's going to jail. And I get him in the back of the Tahoe, and he's like, wait, why am I handcuffed? And I was like, bro, because he was hammered. He's like, because you're going to jail. And he's like, oh, well, then you should just kill me. And I was like, what? And he yelled at me the whole way to the jail.
Remember that guy that fell down in front of that hotel? And we basically had to fight because EMS wouldn't shut up.
It was the worst.
Another PI.
What EMS pissing people off?
Oh, dude, they were firing this guy up, and it was so annoying. It wasn't even Josh and I's call. We just showed up to help.
Nope.
But then we turned into the two guys that ended up fighting him.
Literally
ourselves.
We did that a lot.
Shout out to the rookie. Shout out to the rookie on that call. She's still out there.
Yeah.
We had a DWI like that. We had to hold him down to get a blood draw, and EMS was not making the situation any better.
Boom says is a former GTA 5 role-playing cop. That counts. How many people asked?
There's experience.
That's good enough for
me. That's experience.
Yeah.
Good enough for me. 10Q's like, what's GTA? Grand Trans Agency.
Shut your mouth.
Just stop right now.
Well, there goes our monetization, boys and girls.
There goes. No, we're past 10 minutes. We're past 10 minutes.
Whatever.
Anyways, we'll finish out. Is this the last video?
No, we have 3 YouTube videos.
Okay, let's keep going.
Don't start yelling at me.
Yeah, Florida Man. This starts off great with Florida Man.
Florida Man steals 2 police cars during a chase.
God, turn down the volume.
Dang, this is loud. No, you're not.
And crash.
10-3, someone just pit him into the woods.
That was a good pit, I've got to say.
That was a pretty solid pit.
Perfect pit.
Cops and Robbers with Josh when we were 4 and 5. Yeah, Jacob exercised very professional ways of punching and kicking me when we were playing Cops and Robbers.
Well, you were the robber, dude, so
exactly.
You deserved
I was born to be the robber.
Oh, they got a dog. I saw that dog.
You never want the smoke. You see canine, dude, you comply. Nothing's worth getting bit over.
Well, unless it's like that one dog that ran off.
Yeah.
This dog doesn't look like he's gonna run off.
I had a guy scream at me, rub mayo on him. Does that
one does not have eyes on the suspect.
Yes, that counts. Just lives to get us kicked off platforms. Producer Juan got us kicked off our last platform for a few
That is
minutes.
true. That's true.
Yeah, let the record show.
I was thinking a real city up north. No, Grand Theft Auto is not a real city. I guess San Andreas or whatever.
That's not
I
based
think
on
we
a
can
city
skip
up
a little
north.
bit of this.
I don't know what they're doing.
Oh, look at this approach. Look at these guys.
I know. I was trying to look forward, but I don't really like.
Right there?
So I think he's still in the car.
That left-handed loser.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
Are we playing Ready or Not?
Are we playing Ready or Not?
Yeah, all right.
This guy's got a lot of equipment. Look at this Ford.
Yeah. They showed up with the F-150.
This guy's got way more money than we did. Jeez.
That's probably his personal vehicle.
It's got lights and everything.
There he goes.
There he goes.
No.
And that's why you.
How did he get around them?
Oh, that's a write-up.
That is such a write-up.
Oh, that's a write-up.
And the dog's like, "Hey, where'd my kennel go?"
Where's my kennel? Is this the canine's vehicle?
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
canine
the door was
car.
open. The back door was open. He's lucky he didn't
Agreed.
get shot,
10Q
dude.
agreed. Holy crossfire is right.
Yeah, this is terrible tactics, but
Jeez. Bro, give this guy an A for effort, though, man. Check this guy out.
that dog's pissed.
Oh yeah.
Are
And
you?
know they're
Yeah,
all-
are you kidding me? Is right.
Look at all these patrol guns.
They're coming out. Hey, they got him.
Oh my god. How pissed are they?
Dude, I'd be so mad.
The helicopter
Right.
is the only thing that saved this pursuit.
They stop sticks it? Did it work?
I don't know. He's still moving.
Yeah.
Bro,
Might have
talk
been
about
a
taking the L, dude. I've taken an L. I took an L a few times on patrol. I never took one this hard.
Oh, I think the stop sticks work.
I'm a Cowboys fan, and I'm not used to taking L's this hard. Jeez, dude.
Yeah, this is pretty
Underneath you
egregious.
over the wires.
In terms of
Underneath the
L's.
wires. In the median.
Look at these unmarked cars.
Bro, yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that would make this better is
His
if he jumped
second
out that
one
car,
to steal
This
in a
dude's
row.
this dude's in a freaking suit and tie. The
They're
detective
detectives.
showed up.
They're totally detectives.
Oh, 100%.
Holy crossfire. Oh my god.
Well, they're
I
detectives.
hate all of you.
Wow, he actually gave up.
I hate all
Man.
of them for that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I would have ran. I'd have gone for it.
Florida.
Not with a helicopter, dude. You're never gonna get away from a helicopter.
I would have
Take-
still tried,
take
man.
I had a guy's. Oh, it's about the Mayo thing again. And technically, I
Jesus.
was just restreaming this podcast. Producer Juan. He's trying to skirt the blame.
Well, we've never got kicked off YouTube for this podcast, so.
It's true. It's true. Shout out. She looks like she had a good time.
Yours doesn't have anything on that side? What's your name? What's your name?
On this side.
What's your name?
Box.
What's your name?
Isabel.
Isabella, what's going on today?
I'm drunk.
Very out of it.
Nice little car, though.
Shout out to Cop Watch, by the way.
Yeah. I love this guy. He did embarrass a lot of people. Yeah, no, seriously. Shout out to Mr. Florida Man there. What an absolute legend.
I've had to do this.
Bro,
Tap on.
Sure.
Josh and
sure,
I had
plenty
to
of
do
time.
this like once a week.
It was
Yeah.
bad, yeah. It was, and what was worse, because in Texas, we all got like all these huge trucks. It was way worse for trucks.
We had to do it on a Lunsford could tell you. We had to do it on a guy that was in a like old Honda, and there's a shotgun in the passenger seat.
Look at this, like
The
a
bottle
handle of
right in the
whiskey.
center.
Jeez.
I'm impressed.
Hey, she's living the best life, dude. Dude,
Oh, and
she's
she hit a
hammered.
couple cars.
What's your name?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Yeah. This was probably every like fourth DWI or PI that I worked that they were this drunk.
Look at her sunglasses.
Most of them were like kind of drunk. but
Yeah,
most
those
of the ones-
sunglasses.
Talk to this officer, all right?
He ain't trying to work at DWI.
That was me to Josh every time. Talk to
Every
that officer.
time, bro.
Talk to that officer.
To be fair, when like our last like 5 months, I did work like the last couple. You worked 2 of them for me, I think. But definitely,
We usually flip-flopped.
The chick in the Jeep.
Oh, you were working that one. I was not working that one.
She nailed this tree.
That
in
was
this
that was
really
all
nice
yours,
apartment.
buddy.
This really nice. Oh, sorry, I hit my mic. In this
Nice
really
neighborhood.
nice neighborhood.
Yeah.
Just absolutely nails, hits like a work truck, and then nails a tree.
Yeah.
And we walk up, and Bill looks me dead in the face. It didn't say anything, but he looks at me, and he looks at that Jeep, and I was like, that's fine, I'll work it. It's fine.
But to
That
be
chick-
fair, we worked them mostly together. I just made you do the SFSTs, and then I did all the paperwork.
That's true. You did help me with paperwork, a lot of it. That's true.
So you're coming, where are you going to? So you're coming from Albuquerque and going where?
87121.
She talking to his buddy cam?
I think so.
87121.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is.
Is she in handcuffs over?
Yeah.
Would you like to do some field sobriety tests?
Yeah, she was getting a little squirrely.
You don't want to do any field sobriety tests?
No. Okay. To jail.
Okay, thanks. I have enough
Yeah.
right there.
Okay. We'll put this on the call.
I do not.
If you can find the fob, and we'll get a 40.
She doesn't have to. It's perfectly within her Fifth Amendment rights to not have to do SFSDs.
Yeah.
They're not the content to any of
And
that.
there's enough there to prove that her mental and physical
Yeah.
faculties are reasonably and
Between
appreciably
the
impaired.
fifth of whiskey in her in her lap and her behavior. You can articulate. It'd be an annoying warrant to write, but
Shut the fuck up.
I don't think so. I think that'd be an easy warrant to write.
no, it would be. I'm just saying. Like.
I'd rather,
Like, yeah,
honestly,
she's
I would
gonna be
rather,
annoying 'cause she's gonna be talking to you the whole time.
I'd rather do the warrant instead of doing any SFSTs, because if that
Yeah.
goes to court, you're golden.
Well, yeah.
You just play your body cam. She passed out at a stoplight with a fifth of whiskey in her lap and can't even speak.
I think I'm doing pretty good here.
Hold on.
And I'm sure she smells.
God,
of
dude, she's so
alcohol.
hammered. It's another conversation about you protecting people from themselves.
Good job.
Hold on.
Because for his drunk issues, she's lucky she didn't kill someone or herself.
Or herself,
driving.
yeah.
Michael, what happens in the rest of this?
It's just her being drunk.
Yeah, her being drunk. I think she twerks on one of the officers at some point.
Let's see. DUI stops are unconstitutional. Broke police departments give out mostly tickets and seize most of the property. We don't seize any property, to my understanding, or at least where I work. I don't know.
I haven't.
Maybe Stockton police is shitty. I don't know. I don't know
Anyways.
anything about them. But that being said, it is a typically you're establishing probable cause based off of a traffic violation. And from that traffic violation, you're conducting an investigation. From that investigation, you can establish probable cause for your arrest for DWI.
Yeah, we should just let everybody drive drunk and kill innocent people on the roads.
And the same argument could be made for, if you were going to have that discussion or have that mentality towards it, well, then why have any gun restrictions? I should be able to point a gun at anyone I want. As long as I'm not shooting it, I'm fine. And I wouldn't agree with that. So you cannot be drunk. You cannot be drunk and drive. And in the same way, you can't just point guns at people. Even if your finger's not on the trigger or whatever, I can still articulate you placing someone in fear, placing someone in danger.
I agree with what Juan just said, though.
Checkpoints are unconstitutional. Stops are not. I agree. I agree. I really have the problem with
here, but
yeah. Checkpoints to me are very sus.
Yeah.
I really don't have any problem. Now, I understand you're dealing with Fed boys sometimes there, so that's a little shitty. But I have no problem with people being like, are you an American citizen? You just being like, I don't know, do I look like one? I don't want to answer that question. I have no problem with that, to be 100% honest. Because I kind of get argument for constitutionality on it. I think they should have to establish some level of probable cause to detain me, especially on a public roadway.
And even then, they're legal here, but the amount of work that goes into setting them up, you have to have like a plan way in advance.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, apparently, according to producer Juan, says that the Supreme Court has precedence on checkpoints being legal. There it is.
Yeah.
That's what the Supreme Court said. If they say it, we can't say anything else.
25th, 2021, police were dispatched to a residence to report of a suspected break-in in Rothschild, Wisconsin. When police arrived, they found a vehicle stolen from Wausau, Wisconsin earlier in the day, parked on the sidewalk with the engine running and with no one inside.
That might be a break-in.
After noticing an open garage door, the officers went to the home, evacuated the residence, and went inside to check for a suspect.
They run off.
I think they're in the garage. I think they took the opener out of the truck. We pulled up in the garage and were disposing.
4-5 vehicle. They saw someone go in the house.
If you're in here, make yourself known.
To make contact with the homeowners, listen to this conversation. When they
Sheriff's
come down.
office.
Yeah.
Did anybody run in here? Is this your house, ma'am? Can I get your first name? Are you the one that called the shit? Okay, who called?
Are you kidding me?
Oh, every time they get you.
You have to finish before the.
Oh.
It's always the last video.
Yeah.
So we just got a call about someone breaking into the truck out here.
Just to articulate this, you do have a felony in progress. This is a stolen vehicle in front of a house that looks like it's having a burglary, which is a felony, taking place. Exigency to enter the structure, even without consent, would be here. There is case law that would support exigency for entering. Even if I would argue that even if you had to force entry here, there is case law on that.
About
Anyways, keep going.
Someone breaking into the truck out here.
What
truck? To the black truck out here.
What truck?
Is that your truck out here?
He doesn't play. He's just
okay.
Yeah, that's my truck.
Okay.
I don't know why they'd be breaking in. It's not loud.
Well, there's just a red car parked here. Could you guys do me? Is there anyone else in the house other than you two?
No.
No one else is supposed to be in here?
No.
Okay. Why don't you guys come out and we'd like to just sweep through the house, okay?
Was this door closed when you guys went to bed?
Yeah.
Okay.
No information in regards to them being armed.
Why is
10-4.
that bathroom door is closed down there?
Female just came to the back door, opened up the...
Ours is?
Yeah.
All right, ma'am,
I just wanted to get my shoes.
Just go outside, guys, okay? Just go across the street, find somewhere safe, okay?
Literally don't care.
Leave.
What did you say?
42 King Pen.
Jeez, these ladies, these people, robber in their house.
And he goes in and grabs them. I love that part.
Respect.
42, my partner is still looking for.
So I'll put my life on the line.
Like, hey man,
Grab
community
the
policing, baby. I don't want her to be standing out there with
Please.
no shoes on.
God.
Yeah,
Just looking at that setup. Ugh.
Police
The ready,
department,
the
make
ready
your
or not
presence known.
PTSDs coming in hard right now, right?
They ended up discovering a man hiding in the bathroom, surrendering with his hands up.
There you go.
Come on out of the bathroom.
What an absolute cat, my dude.
Step
Get
out
in
of the bathroom now.
Oh, it gets better.
Keep your hands up.
I don't look suspicious at all.
Get on your knees.
Keep watching. It gets so good.
Fucking move. I don't give a fuck.
Hey man, you can be
You're under
professional.
arrest.
The line.
43 95.
Ouch, ouch. a GMC Canyon sold last week too. Black one.
But every time I watch handcuffs be put on crooked, it cracks me up.
Oh, fuck.
Just lay down. I'll fix them.
I'm sorry. Oh, Jesus.
Every time I see him put on crooked,
Are
it
they
cracks me
tight?
up.
The man was
I'm
identified
like, bro,
as
get it
29-year-old
together.
Jonathan Bishop.
What's the deal? Talk to me.
This right one's really tight.
Right one?
Yes.
Okay.
I've been trying to work with you.
I had this conversation on TikTok about hinge cuff versus chain cuffs.
Did you hear him say, "I've been trying to work with you"?
Really?
You stole a car and ran into someone's house. You're not working with nobody.
The goddamn door. I didn't know who.
And the sheriff's
The right one's
deputy
not tight. I
his
can fit two
response
fingers
was,
in there.
Fuck you, you're not working with us.
I'm sorry, it's the wrong way. Please.
Hey, check out his multicam digital camera pants.
Yeah, he got that from a thrift store, I'm sure, but
It is what it
You
is.
didn't take anything from in here?
No.
What are you doing in here?
Huh?
What are you doing in here?
I was trying to get the. Please.
You know stealing
the car
stuff.
back to a friend.
Trying to get the stolen car back to your friend? Jesus.
Get up.
Wait, get on your knees. Come on.
That's what it is. They're not meant to be comfortable, you're right. Handcuffs are not comfortable. I've been handcuffed plenty of times.
yeah, I tell people that all the time.
No, there's a reasonable thing to it. I just didn't want to injure these people with handcuffs, especially if they're
Yeah, I'm sure.
This
Yeah,
guy's
you're really
weak.
working on it.
I mean, and I adjust cuffs all the
Yeah,
time
let's get him
for people,
outside.
you know, I don't make them too loose, but you know, if
If
it's a little tight.
Well, honestly, after you frisk the guy and you put him in the car,
Yeah.
Really tight.
when at this point it turns into the
Alright.
What?
He's, hang on, go back
Why do
a
you
little
have
bit.
Richard's card?
In there.
Well, Steven's cards.
Looks like Steven's wallet to me. My ID's in there, I promise you. Somebody took all my stuff.
Are you Richard?
No. He had what?
Why,
He
why do you have Richard's
stole some
card?
IDs
They're
too.
in his wallet.
Why do you have Kristen's card?
Because they owe me money.
Take these off.
The pins are old.
But I don't
If you
miss the
check
streets,
dates,
dude.
it's
I don't
expiration
miss
date.
the streets at all.
Another wallet? You got two wallets on you?
Are you Drew? You don't look like Drew.
Drew has two different IDs. Drew
Pause it real
Brown and Drew James.
This guy's stolen, what, like probably 6 people's cards, right? Probably poor people's cards too, which is extra shitty. Broke into some person's house and stole somebody's car all in one day. And I guarantee you, depending on how it looks or the circumstances, the demographics involved, somebody somewhere would see him as a victim somehow.
He is a victim. Didn't you hear him say, "Ow, ow, ow"?
I don't know. Dude. Double lock, yes. 10Q, always double lock your handcuffs.
Yes.
Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Double lock your handcuffs.
Keep watching, because it gets better.
Officers placed Bishop in their squad car while they interviewed the witnesses.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to the back of my car here.
He's getting to go into Tahoe. Those are comfier.
Do you have additional charges to the stolen
It's an
vehicle,
Explorer. It's not that comfy back there.
7-3 will have additional charges.
You don't
Yeah,
say.
identity theft. Come on.
Yeah.
Here, scooch
Credit
yourself
card
over this way
abuse.
just a little bit, all right? I'm going to reach across to you and grab the seatbelt.
Hey, my man, securing him in. Respect. Drugs. 10Q.
You don't say.
Thank you for blowing up our comment section, 10Q. I appreciate
Oh,
it.
yeah, that's the other 2 guys that are here. All right, just sit tight, all right? Hey, if you guys want to go inside to your living room, go. Feel free. We walk through the house. Everything's good.
The whole thing?
Yep.
I'm being facetious, so I'm sorry.
That's okay. So I just got to take a few pictures.
He did go through. I don't exactly know what would be missing out of my cupboards.
During the interviews, Bishop squeezed himself through a 1-foot barrier between the front and back seats and took off with the squad car.
God, dude, what the fuck?
Oh, it gets better.
Bro,
want to talk about
cops are taking L's all day today.
Quick question for
Man.
you. What do bad breath and your poop have in common? And did you know
What-
that it's
what-
related to weight
what are
loss?
we seeing right now?
Talk about stacking charges, man, on this guy, because you're gonna see it.
Let's see. Stockton, do y'all smoke weed now that y'all are retired?
Here it is.
I'll answer that question. He took the car.
And he turned the sirens on.
I got your license. I'll do it, dude.
Bro. That's a write-up.
These body cameras suck. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah.
You think it's this guy's car that was taken?
Yep.
Oh, hell yeah, it was.
Cut him off real easy going that way, but you don't know that.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
No traffic.
I'm about to not be.
Admin's about to smack me.
Admin's coming for that ass.
10-4 still on Rothschild car.
Yeah. I'm gonna let you guys go, but I got, like I said, you guys want it, but I got them on video.
Talking to that area.
Fuck.
10-4.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, and here it comes. You're going to see the dash cam footage. Of the car that got
Marathon
stolen.
County
Here it
deputies
is.
began to pursue the vehicle, but lost it for a brief amount of time.
And
It was eventually located in the backyard
damage
of a
to
residence. However, Bishop
personal
was not
property
inside the
and
squad
real
car.
property.
Jeez, dude.
Deputies set up
It
a perimeter
keeps-
around the residence and used a canine to track Bishop to the back garage door of the home. Bishop was later located inside the attic of the home and taken into custody by Marathon
Jeez.
County deputies.
So he broke into
It should be noted
two
that Bishop
homes.
was already wanted by police on drug charges. Bishop was charged with felony operating a motor vehicle without owner's consent, fleeing an officer, and escaping criminal arrest, and misdemeanor
dude.
criminal
You're
trespass
gonna
to
see him
dwelling,
bail.
credit card fraud, and operating after revocation.
Why does no one in this neighborhood lock their doors?
Ultimately, Bishop was sentenced to a total of 5 years of initial confinement in prison, followed by 3 years of extended supervision. He is also ordered to pay $4,300 plus a restitution surcharge.
Yeah, because I'm sure he has that kind of money.
Yeah. Here, there he is.
In his boxers. That's great.
Yeah, because his pants came off when he was getting into the front.
That's great.
I personally have never really had that big of an issue with marijuana usage, even when I was a cop. I do say that I had a pretty big stance on the drug trade. More of our gang-related shootings happened over weed than over anything. As by far the biggest moneymaker on the street, and there was a shit ton of shootings. Literally, like, I'd say 80% of the shootings that I went to go work, and these are not officer involved. These are just like shootings between people. That's why I say gang-related shootings. Like, it's all the time. I personally don't have any issue with weed. I don't drink, so I'm probably like the biggest square ever on the internet. But I don't have any problem with people taking marijuana. I think I look at marijuana the same way I would look at something like ibuprofen. And I think if it's something that you're having to do every day to be happy, you're probably in a pretty bad place. It's the same thing with drinking or anything like that. I think eventually laws will kind of catch up and treat it for the plant that does funny things that it is. But that being said, I think there is what a lot of people that do marijuana don't realize. This is a very violent drug trade for that.
Yeah.
That they're pretty complicit in. A lot of people are very complicit in that. And then there's the other like flip side of that of like they'll say, "What's a victimless crime?" and so on and so forth. We will eventually look at people that are smoking weed daily the same way we look at alcoholics, and that like if you need it and you're not doing it for like pain, and I'm talking like, you know, you crush your back or something crazy like that, you need it for pain management. That I could see.
You fell off a ladder.
Yeah, exactly. Fell off a ladder. Exactly. I think you'll start to see adoption of that kind of stuff in like the NFL's rules will probably have to change on that.
They've already changed.
But stuff like that you'll see them catch up to marijuana specifically.
Yeah, the NFL and the NBA have already pretty much taken it out of their testing.
And as I think they should, because like I said, from a pain management standpoint, marijuana is pretty hard to beat.
That's a lot better than taking a shitload of Tylenol. I can tell you that.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's really bad for your liver and stuff like that. I'm totally willing to have, and I felt that way even as an officer, and it was become very illegal in Texas. And I'm not saying I did take people to jail for marijuana. I did all the time. But there was just as many times that I saw it and was like, wow, this is like 1/10 of an ounce of marijuana.
Doesn't look usable to me.
It magically ended up on the pavement that I magically stepped on and was like, wow, I don't have evidence of the crime anymore, but that grinder's coming with me, and here's your ticket, and get the hell out of here.
Your ticket for paraphernalia. Yeah.
Yeah, I would ticket.
But
guys
you know
on
what
paraphernalia
though?
all the time,
We
yeah.
never had to fight someone who was high. We always fought people who were drunk.
I was about to say, I would take someone.
Always.
I'm talking like overdid it on edibles high.
On the moon, dude. Take that over somebody
Before
who's
a drunk dude.
Yeah. That's the only drug I feel like that though, because I fought some people on some other drugs that was not fun.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was about to say, dude, like K2, fucking meth, all that stuff's bad.
I agree with the legalization of marijuana, and
what happened?
I'm fully supportive of it. Now, I'm not going to get into whether it should be legalized recreationally or medicinally. I see merit in both. I definitely agree. At the very least, if we are going to legalize it, at the very least, medicinally, I'm 100% for.
Sure.
Recreation, you know.
Well,
there's a decent argument for it because I mean, obviously, alcohol is legal. But then,
aren't we giving away free crack pipes?
We are giving away free crack pipes.
Right. Yeah.
So,
to your point, and I think what I'll get at is that I'm not here for criminalizing the consumption and possession of drugs. It's DWIs. It's stuff like that. Once it becomes, it's the same thing with alcohol. We're not criminalizing alcohol. We're criminalizing the use of alcohol in a way that would put somebody else at danger.
Right.
Because honestly, it's my personal opinion on a lot of stuff. As long as you're not placing someone else in danger, I could give two fucks. Now, there is something to be said about controlled substances. Again, you can look at opioids and stuff like that, where like it's a controlled substance and there is a little bit more regulations on it because this stuff is highly addictive and abused oftentimes. And it is. I don't think we should be criminalizing its use and abuse. We should be criminalizing the trade that it is, because then you're effectively preying on people's need on this opioid addiction. And again, there's the gang related issues around that. I really don't think at all that that we should be taking people to jail for a little bit of weed. I often don't do it. So.
And I'm the same. You know, if it's a small amount, you're either A, I'm gonna be like, all right, I want to confiscate this, submit it for destruction, and you're not getting charged with anything. Or B, I might have to give you a citation, but unless it's, you know, a selling amount, you're not going to jail.
Yeah,
it's not worth my time.
Jacob said that his crack pipe was coming in the mail with his C19 test.
Oh, did you sign up for both? That's perfect. Don't get him confused.
Jacob got the 2-for-1 special.
Don't get him confused.
Yeah, God.
Do not get them confused.
I would sign up for one, but I wouldn't get it till the end because
crack is bad, boys and girls. I've seen what crack does to people. It's not fun.
It's bad news bears.
There's violence in drugs for Vicodin and opioids. I agree. Before America brings it home, and when we arrest people for it, for what we sell them. Like I said, I think people are a lot more complicit in the gang life and the gang culture that surrounds the drug trade, and I think that's why there's a law.
But also, we're speaking from personal experience.
That's what I mean.
Being cops,
I've watched. Yeah,
we never worked people getting in gunfights over pills. It was always over weed. So
literally never, not even once. Like
doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It's just not our experience.
Now I've had people fight me that were high a lot, but like even people that had meth on them oftentimes wouldn't fight us. But like, man, like I'm talking vicious shootings. I have a scar on my forearm. You can see it here.
Yeah, we worked that one in that apartment complex where that dude's jaw was being held in by his mask.
Yeah. I've seen some pretty hellacious stuff from the drug trade and how violent the drug trade is. And it's violent not towards us, but towards people, like towards each other. Like they're fighting over turf and all this kind of stuff. And legalizing it won't fix that. A lot of people think that that's just going to go away overnight. It won't, because of the culture that we have surrounded. Our attitude towards drugs has to change collectively as a society to have that stuff go away. So,
I do think you will see a reduction, but it's not going to just be the magic pill that says, boop, it's all gone.
No.
No.
That's for anything. But that being said, I don't believe in the criminalization of its abuse. I think we should treat drug addiction and drug abuse the same way that we treat MHMR stuff. If I find you high in the street, I am detaining you and I'm taking you to some treatment facility so you can go get treatment for it. And that should be society's response to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But if you're selling it, and you're going around,
Yeah.
Circumventing what safe standard practices are for proliferating controlled substances, I think, yeah, fuck them at that point, because they really are destroying people's lives, unfortunately.
And there is an argument, and I know a lot of people say, well, this is the cops' argument. I have personally seen people that are dealing with substance abuse issues, and the reason why most states still criminalize it is because when people say, oh, it's a victimless crime, you get people that, let's say they're either high on heroin or they're craving heroin.
Sure.
And they're going out and they're breaking into stores, they're stealing stuff, they are victimizing people because their addiction is so bad they need to have it, so they're trying to get the money to get it. That's why they're making victims out of people.
Sure.
Them using the drug may be victimless, because if I'm consenting to using this thing, I'm not a victim. But now they're going out and victimizing others. And that's why a lot of the times the states go and the federal government go, well, we're going to criminalize this thing.
I had a college kid one time that was telling me, well, I should be able to do heroin and it not be an issue. And I said, okay. I was like, so let's say you do that, right? Like, we let people smoke cigarettes and we let people eat sugar and stuff like that, and it's not illegal, right? I said, so should I let people cut their own wrists? Should I let people, jump off of bridges? Should I let people do, a lot of stuff, theoretically through the letter of the law? Should I let them do that? They're a consenting adult to all that stuff. Sure. But I think that there's a moral conversation we gotta have to have as a society. And this is going more into social constructs versus constitutionality or versus all that stuff.
Yeah.
And law enforcement's at the center of this discussion. Is like, do I want to live in a society where like we have like people taking their own life parties and like crazy stuff like that? There was Children of Men, a really cool movie if you ever guys want to see like a really good watch for a movie. And Children of Men takes place in a dystopian future where we no longer are able to have children. And like the oldest person in the world's like 18, and he's like a celebrity, and people are always like, oh, that's so crazy, like he's so young and whatever. But the government, because of how hopeless our future is without children, the government then subsidize a product so that you can like basically take your own life. It's designed for that. They have like Cialis style commercials for like old people just being like, well, we're just gonna die now. It was the weirdest thing ever. But like, do you want to live in a society like that? And that's a general question that you have to ask yourself. And so like, even though we could have these constitutional discussions on, well, I should be legally allowed to destroy my life with meth,
Should Jonestown situations be legalized?
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is like you eventually, there has to be a line in the sand where we start having a moral discussion about that, where it's like and it's not a religious discussion. It's like a, hey, like murder's bad. It doesn't take a religious predisposition to feel that way. Or, assault, especially of a sexual nature, is bad. Just universally, I don't need a religious predisposition to feel that way. I think we're willing to take a poll of the audience. If the audience can all come to the agreement that is bad, that we should empower law enforcement to step in and protect people from themselves. Or, like I said, at least offer services that try to help with that issue, whether it's addiction or whether it's depression and things of that nature.
I would honestly all be for legislation where instead of taking someone who we happen to find that's suffering from a heroin addiction or something, taking them to a rehab or taking them to a hospital, and I'm sure there are states that do stuff like that. I would be all for that. Trying instead of giving them a criminal record and putting them in the system, getting them the help they need. I would be all for that. And I think that would be less destructive to the person.
And to answer Stockton's question here, because and I agree that drugs won't stop, addiction won't stop. I'm not saying to lock everyone up. I'm saying to treat it the exact same way that we currently treat mental health illness, and that's that it's a 48-hour hold at the minimum. That if you do something that I believe, or whether it's like try to hurt yourself or start making statements that put people that get nervous about you or whatever. That we can force you to go to a mental health facility and at least have a psychologist or a psychiatrist evaluate your situation and then make some sort of prognosis and they release you. I don't believe in holding people behind bars indefinitely because they're suffering from some sort of mental illness or addiction. I believe in empowering society to temporarily remove them from the environment, say, hey, and I'm literally talking maybe 48 hours. Maybe because it's that, or we just let them die in the street. It's really, and it's the reality of things. Some people are never going to get better. That's the reality of it. You cannot save everyone. I've experienced that personally. I've watched many a successful. I literally watched Bill got to see the aftermath of this. I watched two guys had the same birthday. They were friends, and they took heroin together and died on the floor together on their birthday with their girlfriends and significant others in the kitchen. And I walked in and I was like, damn, like what a bad birthday party. That's kind of what went through my head. But like nothing we could have done, I believe, in society would have prevented that. Nothing. I watched plenty of successful, like I said, suicides. I kicked the door in plenty. Dudes blowing their heads off, hanging themselves, the whole nine, ODing on pills, all that stuff. I've seen multiple times.
Yeah.
And every time I walked in there, I thought, well, maybe if I got there sooner, or I'd talk to the family because I have to make a death notification. And they would go through the whole exercise of, well, maybe I could have done this differently or that. And I said, there's some people I understand we can't help and they're adults and whatever it is what it is. But I think that I think we have an obligation to society to at least try and to have something in place to try. I'm with you on not criminalizing it because where you're punishing people for having problems, like that's fucked. And I do agree with that. It was something that I did get a lot of heartburn on in law enforcement. That being said, I mean,
and I've had to do it.
That's what I mean. It is what it is.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how many times that I've had to take someone to jail for a substance abuse issue. They had heroin on them. They're high as a kite on heroin.
Sure.
And now it's not illegal in North Carolina to be high in public. They're high of their mind. They're telling me they're addicted. They've committed some other petty crime while being, because of their substance abuse issue. And I've tried to have a conversation with them and tried to help them through that, and offer services that they could go through and stuff. And some of them legitimately listened, and other ones, didn't.
It is what it is, yeah.
Yeah, but the issue is I can't force them to get any help. I can only suggest that they have to take it. It would be nice. Well, yes, there could be a constitutional argument, but it would be nice to be able to go, okay, look, clearly you're not going to advocate for yourself, so I'm going to advocate for you, and basically do like an IVC process like we do for mental health, because a lot of substance abuse issues go hand in hand too with mental health. So
yeah, I agree. Do we have any other, before we get in like a huge rabbit hole, do we have anything else to watch?
No.
Bill? All right, cool. Do you have anything else you want to add, Bill?
I'm good.
I've sat on a couple soapboxes today. We've had a couple of big discussions. Thank everyone. 10Q, I appreciate you coming out and saying hi to us. Stockton, for your controversial self, I do appreciate you asking questions. We are here to answer them. That is our job here as advocates. Jacob, thank you for adding in the humor and all the crack pipe talk and all of that.
Yeah.
Always love seeing Jacob in the chat. Continuing to scroll here. Let's see who came in. Chris, of course, came in. I appreciate it. One of our Patreon subs. Always good to see him. Boom11 for being here first. I did miss his face.
Like right on the second, dude. Boom killed it.
And so I do appreciate him showing up. I'm addicted to this live stream. Lol. I might get arrested. Here's something can save me. I appreciate the support. Like I said, I appreciate you asking good questions. It's good conversation, and I think it's not in most of these discussions when it comes to law enforcement. It's not. Bye, Chris. I appreciate you stopping by. I see you leaving.
Take it easy, Chris.
It's not necessarily about changing people's minds. I think it's just people understanding the perspective, because the law enforcement perspective as a whole, like I am no longer going to be a normal person for the rest of my life. I wish I could. It'd be nice. It was nice being ignorant and complaining about taxes and stuff like that. It's like when you realize like the bigger problems in the world, like it makes everything kind of seems like small fries. And, we're here to try to change that, and hopefully we can start to take a push to have to try to find real answers as opposed to what everyone likes to talk about when it comes to training and things of that nature, and better best practices, I guess is the best way I can describe it. And proliferate that culture throughout, not just law enforcement, but other forms of government, if they can. Maybe we take the lead on some of that stuff. So we're gonna have discussions. I want to thank Bill and his injured self still managed to power through and stay stoic. Oh my
Bill is the true hero.
He set up a very nice live stream. I want to thank him because we wouldn't be able to have these cool conversations if we didn't pull all these things up. Thank you, YouTube, for not taking us down.
No kidding.
From like our TikTok
Yeah.
stuff. Thank you, everybody that came to here from TikTok or that's on TikTok. If you're on YouTube and don't know that we're on TikTok, go check us out on there. We put a bunch of stupid skits on there and sometimes do stuff educational. And then here, if you're watching this and you like it, think about subscribing. We go live twice a week. We do Let's Plays on Tuesdays typically, and then discussions like these on Thursdays. And then if you have law enforcement related questions, either put them in the comments below or message us on Instagram or on TikTok. We are also supporting our Instagram more now because they're apparently being cool. Subscribe, mofos.
They are cool.
Yes, like what Stockton said. Subscribe, mofos.
And,
That's right.
Join our Patreon if you want to be part of a bigger conversation. Michael here is our king of Patreon. Which is what he gets to be in all of our stuff and stuff like that. And that's it attaches you automatically to our Discord. And in our Discord, that's where we have all of our conversations and plan all of our content. So we have a couple extra like Patreon specific content that we put out, and
like feet pics.
Like feet pics and things of that nature. Yeah.
On feet pics.
If you're only part of that conversation, feel free to support us there. If you don't just like it, just like commenting, subscribing, and sharing is also super helpful. So we appreciate it. We try to make the world a better place for civilians and cops alike. And we hope that this sees you well. Thank you for riding, was it 3-man with us today?
3-man.
And,
I was in the trunk.
Yeah.
You were.
We hope that...
you sound like you're in the trunk.
Yeah. Cops can learn to keep their patrol cars to themselves, and that we hopefully don't have any more terrible stories to cover next week. So
we
until
will.
next time, peace.